We are live. Welcome everyone to this informal discussion on the NFT gaming stream. I am one of your hosts, Tyranitar LR, and we have Striker, Kenzie DK, and AAA Drifting joining us today.
What up, what up?
Hello.
What up?
Today we are going to be talking about something that is, I think, a passion of all of ours. NFT games, of course, and specifically Lost Relics. We're going to be going over a bunch of really, really cool and really integral updates to the game of Lost Relics that we're going to be speculating on, as well as kind of, I mean, we can make some pretty good deductions based on what Cliff talked about.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, Kenzie, you wanna give us some background as to what exactly we're going to be talking about?
My big focus, the thing I'm most excited about, is the bosses and the mini bosses. That's literally the thing that like gets me really thrilled for the coming update. And yeah, that's basically the thing that I'm most excited about.
Right? Because I think everyone's looking forward to just like having this new sort of gameplay, it being a boss, whether it drops more loot, whether we gain more EXP from doing it. But I think everyone's just excited for that, what's the come factor? What can we get from this new boss?
Yeah,
It'll
Exactly.
be exciting.
Especially the fact that Cliff mentioned something in terms of combat mechanics or whatever, however he mentioned it, that were necessary in order to implement those bosses and mini bosses. So I have no idea what to expect, whether it's a dodge, a different way of fighting, maybe even spells for all we know. Like Cliff has gone out of his way to surprise us in the past, so who knows what we're gonna get? Who knows what we're gonna get? It is exciting, that's for sure.
Yeah, one of the top things, I might be the one that I might be the oddball out, but like in terms of the new information we got, like yes, the mini bosses stood out, but the area that like immediately pinged my interest was the discussion about how a potential in-game market it could be adapted from what was originally thought, and how Cliff may, and we don't know much details about it, but how he may have found a temporary solution regarding payments, both fiat and crypto, to go ahead and boost the in-game economy. So that's the thing that like immediately caught my attention. But yes, of course, I pretty much love the content Cliff has created in the past, and I've pretty much gotten to the point where I'm like, you know what, on my end, I'm more like, I know whatever he's going to make is going to be fun and going to be good. So I'm going to let him, take over on that aspect, and try to predict out, some of the other key areas like the economy.
Yeah, and I just want to say, to start us off, before we get into the discussion, I just want to let you guys know we're going to be giving away some exclusive NFTs during the course of the podcast. We're going to be giving them away randomly, so make sure you're typing in chat, make sure you're sticking around. The giveaway is sponsored by MVB, which is the Multiverse Brotherhood. They make a bunch of really cool multiverse NFTs on the Engine Network, and we're going to be giving away some exclusive NFT Gaming and MVB clan tag NFTs, which can be used in 6 different games. So make sure you stay tuned. Our ambassador Itai, I don't know if he's here, but I'm sure he's going to be tuning in at some point because he's going to be the ones giving it to all you guys. So I think we should just get down to the nitty gritty. Let's
do it.
Let's talk about this. What the hell are new gameplay combat changes? What does that mean? What do you think we're getting? Because I have no idea.
That's really tough, man. I like how Kenzie's like original thought process went to the idea of magic. I don't know if that's necessarily going to be it, but like it could be something as drastic as that. It could also be something as small as these new enemies having resistances to damage types, or having increases to certain types of damage that they do. It could be a variety of things. What's your all's guesses?
I don't think we're getting a new skill. I don't think we're getting a new combat skill. I think Kenzie's whack. I'm just gonna say that.
You think it's only gonna be left click and right click like you have right now, like nothing on top of that?
No, I think we'll have different, maybe different ways to use the existing mechanics that already exist. That was really redundant, but I don't know. I feel like, man, the look on your face when we were saying that, and we all know Kenzie's an official LR Discord mod. So anytime we say, anytime I doubt him and I look at his smug little face and I see him like try not to laugh, I feel like he knows something. Like I said during my stream, I'm gonna try to get you to fucking leak something during this podcast.
I wish I did, but I don't. I am something that would really be cool. So I think the thought process on that should be, let's look at what other games are doing, right? Like my thought went to dodging and magic because games similar to Lost Relics have those kind of integrations into them. So I think it is kind of, a good way to look at it. But what are other ways that they have different like other games have different combat modes than left and right click and magic and dodging? What is there on top of that? I think that's a good way to think, to kind of try to understand what is coming.
I think dodging is a very good thing, very good example of something that could be added to completely change the entire gameplay mechanics of the game. Like you could literally just add dodging and the entire game is completely different. It adds a movement mechanic. It adds a way to dodge enemies. It adds,
you can use it for offensive and defensive
100%.
Reasons.
100%.
Exactly, and it adds a level of skill, right? Because it's about timing and it's about dodging that damage that will maybe save your life if you survive with 14 HP. So yeah, dodging, or maybe even a shield. Who knows? Maybe he's implementing shields.
Yeah, armor would be pretty big.
Honestly,
yeah, imagine shields with like an HP that breaks after a certain amount of time.
That's the thing.
Or maybe having to rebuild it. Because apparently back in the day, tools would break over the course of a time. I'm not sure if it was RNG or not, but yeah, I don't know if he brings that back or if he's done with that.
Big fan of no durability, to be honest. Yeah, and shield would be nice. I know Striker Jer and I would appreciate it because I'm sure you guys, if you watch any of our streams, I'm sure you've seen us die and lose at least 200k. For some of us, on multiple occasions.
On stream? Nah,
I've never died on stream, bro.
Nope.
So yeah, no, nah. I think durability could be good if it's in direct relation to the forging skill, because I could see a nice overlap. But otherwise, I don't see him just like adding it arbitrarily, because I feel like it's just like weird if it's like, oh yeah, buy the stuff in the shop, and it's like, yeah, they have durability to it. It's like if you're making virtual weapons with stuff and it's like not incredibly high cost and high risk, then I could definitely see durability for that. Durability for tools should be a no-go straight up, because you're using blockchain weapons to make most of those tools. Blockchain items, rather. But I'm trying to think. Combat changes.
Well, I mean, when you try to you would assume from what Cliff has mentioned in the past that the way he likes to look at the development process is by creating like these layers of an onion, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. I think it would be safe to assume that like each patch is intended to offer that new layer. So if we're getting things like, a beach map and a cave map, as well as a forging skill and some type of combat change, like I can see how all of them would serve the same purpose, one way or another. I think that makes logical sense. I also think from what he's done in the past, he's planted the seeds. Like he may add something new to the patch that doesn't seem necessarily relevant right now, but plants the seed for the future patch, I
feel like that's Cliff's specialty, Like how many items do we have where literally Drift and I spend hours in Discord talking about possibilities of where the hell the Warden's key is going to go and what it's going to do, to the point where we're literally going into the maps, bringing in elemental eggs, dropping them on the floor, dragging the Warden to the lighthouse and trying to drop the key and seeing if he's going to eat the fucking elemental egg. Like that. Cliff loves doing that shit.
We've done some crazy things.
Yeah, and Cliff, I don't know. Kenzie,
he's definitely a man of mystery. He likes. This is like one of his main, I would say, right, I'm speculating, but I would say frustrations is the fact that so many people are asking for information rather than discovering information for themselves. And Cliff is someone who really enjoys people discovering things for themselves. So you guys actually running around the map with a key and dropping items like that. I don't know if he knows about that, but if he knew about that, he would probably be super happy.
We told him, this is, I guess it was off the record. I don't think he'd mind though. Before the last podcast, we were telling him, we're like, come on, like I forgot to ask on the podcast. I feel bad, but I told my stream afterwards. We asked him like, "Okay, Cliff, like, is there a use for the Warden's key?" And we told him what we were doing, and he's like, "There's no use yet, but you're on the right track. Like, you gotta keep thinking like that for future updates, because I like hiding stuff like that." So guys,
Exactly.
be
You never
men and
know.
women of mystery as well, and do your Sherlock Holmes duty, and
That actually reminds me of an image I saw. I don't know if it's from you guys or somebody on the Discord, but somebody shared like their map of what is it called? Trailwoods.
Mhm.
That was shaped like a key, like an actual key. And they were like, "Oh, does that mean something? The
Oh.
map is shaped like a key. Does that mean that I had to have my
Yep.
warden's key with me?"
I
Stuff
didn't
like
see that.
Those
Ooh.
are things.
I noticed that too. Very, it made me think. I think that's why I started testing things in that area, and I was like, maybe later.
Yeah, I thought I
mean,
was
I've
done
been
with testing that.
crazy things from the beginning, like stuff like what happens like if you hit a warden key at the very end of the map and then you pick it up and retaste it to the beginning of the map. So like I was like I would go in with a warden's key, start the map, drop the blue gram, go all the way to the end, and then tele back and just to see did something change. You know, like because I had this whole dumb theory about like the moment you kill the wardens and the gates open, like what if that's not the only thing on the map that opened? You know,
True.
so
Mhm.
I
That's
don't
a
know,
good
just
thought.
crazy.
And that's
Crazy
what got
theories.
us thinking like that, because when Drift and I started the game, Stryker was like the first real Lost Relics community member we talked to, and we're asking Stryker like, "What are these warden keys? Like, do they have uses?" And he's like, I've been bringing them into the map every time there's an update, and I always try stuff with that. So we kind of brought that,
I
and
built
think,
on top of that.
yeah, and I tried
Mhm.
something actually as recent as last night. I got that weird legendary virtual relic from a bounty chest. It's called a Twilight Locket. And one of my viewers is like, "Hey, why don't you
Ooh.
take that into the trail and do the same thing you were doing before? Because it has 2 uses, but there's no use case."
Oh.
So I'm like, "Oh, maybe I'll do this." But no, it did jack shit. Mike told me to take it into trail. I tried it. It didn't do anything yet.
Good
So
work.
yeah.
So what do we think? What do we think the warden's key will like? What is the door? What does that door open to? What is behind it? Is it going to be like a what is it called on Diablo?
Encounter boss.
No, there's a special world. I forgot it.
Oh.
Cow level. Is it a cow level? Chat. Somebody should help me
Someone
out.
will know in 3, 2, 1. Cow level.
It's cow level. Thank you, Valentine Walland. Exactly. There's like a cow level. So in case you guys don't know, there's like a special place in Diablo. I can't remember how you access it, but it's basically a level with literally only cows. There's no mobs, there's no big monsters. It's just cows, and they drop special stuff. And maybe we're gonna have like a warden,
Why?
baby warden level or something.
But
I
why?
don't
That would
know.
be
Why?
wild.
Why is it cows? Is there any like? Can someone in the chat give us some backstory or something? I'll read it in a bit. But why it's cows? But yeah, I think it's gonna be a mini boss. I think it's gonna be a mini
I
boss.
think it's gonna be a treasure room with traps.
Think maybe it could be a new dungeon or the boss that maybe we could only fight if we have the warden's key. Maybe.
Guys, Valsy brought up something. All wardens, hundreds of them chasing you, and I know he's joking, but here, actually, Kaiser just linked it. I'm gonna post this here. I know he's joking, but if we're looking at it, maybe the bug from Easter was the cow level.
Yeah,
You guys know what I'm talking
that's
about.
what popped in my mind.
If you see it on Discord or Telegram, people in Forgotten Chambers getting chased down by 20 wardens as they enter the Easter.
Yeah, that was wild.
Holy
shit. So trick question. Well, not really a trick question. One question. How do you kill 20 wardens chasing you?
Very carefully.
With transcendence.
Guys, if you want a transcendent starter pack, buy Kenzie DK's starter pack for 16 Ethereum. No, I'm just kidding. Anyways, yeah, no, I feel like I don't know. I think that was a bug. I think we can safely say that we all assume it was a bug. Maybe it was a teaser to something that he didn't purposely mean to put out. But I could definitely see like some sort of like mini, like new, like kind of secret dungeon where you enter the warden's key. Maybe it's at the end of a dungeon. Maybe the new dungeon, if you bring a warden's key to the end, instead of leaving, you can unlock another floor, kind of like the old Lost Relics, right? When it was Forgotten Artifacts, and you can go up to a new floor. And obviously, you risk the warden key going in. And then you obviously you're gonna have to make sure you have some health and mana stave up, because maybe it's gonna be a mini boss, or maybe a cow level with a mini boss at the end or something. So
yeah,
yeah, I think that's I think I mean it would that type of thinking also makes sense for like when you consider the drop rate of the warden key, or at least what we are seeing amongst like all of our friends like talking about how often they get warden keys, you know. So I think that's something interesting to look at.
Mm-hmm.
For
You know,
sure.
what do you guys think about the quality of life changes that the update's going to bring? Like just the simple idea of like the new map that you can view that has like displaying the requirements and
Let me see if I can pull that up. Actually, I think Sean has it pulled up for us here. I'm gonna make us a little bit smaller for now.
Our producer.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
I kind
Yeah.
of like it looking at it first glance. I think it's easy to navigate, easy to see. Yeah, I definitely don't mind it for sure.
I think it's super awesome. One, I just want to say how appreciative we have of Pops usually because he makes the quality of this stream so much better. Right now, he is not available, so we are winging it. But I love it. I think it looks really easy. It's really easy to see what resources there are. The monster icons are really helpful, especially because a lot of maybe even if you have like a little name when you mouse over, it'd be really nice. Because a lot of time people don't know what maps to kill what stuff. And so a lot of people are helpful in the Lost Relics, like in the general chat in the game. Some people will troll the shit out of you, but a lot of time people will help you. So it's nice to be able to just look at the adventure pass and be able to see this stuff. And it's also nice to have it ordered. You know, you can just scroll through it looks like, and you can click start adventure, and it's really obvious to see which adventure you're doing. Sometimes I'll click on an adventure and I won't realize I'm going to that adventure and I'll have to abandon, but this is really nice.
I do have to say that I will miss the map because the map was like a nice touch. It kind of, I mean, it didn't mean anything, but it kind of gave this vibe of like a wider world than there is right now, and just kind of limits it in that sense. But I think it is a great update, and it's great to see that Cliff really, is not only thinking about the future, but also about the present as to what there is to change to kind of, help newer players who can't figure out like where to find those monsters or which map they can do that kind of stuff. So it's good to see that he's doing those quality of life changes for sure.
Definitely. I think it'll be interesting too because he's adding in new monsters like he mentioned. And with people, consistently doing Odin Spire Sands, getting used to completing it at their comfort level, maybe some people will have a lot more discomfort trying to do that sort of map. And maybe there's new resources coming out. So it could cause a little bit of problems or people needing upgrades in the near future, depending on what he brings.
And on this similar note, was this rumored or did he write it? I can't remember, but he was talking about Nether Demon buffs, right? Is that confirmed?
I may have heard that. I don't know if I saw that specifically.
I remember hearing or reading something about Nether Demons not being so easy to kill in this patch, but I could be mistaken. Anyone confirm that?
I don't have confirmation
I don't
on
think Cliff said that in the last announcement, from what I'm aware.
All right, Applebee says that was a dream. Okay, nice. Okay, so Dex said I heard Nether Demon butts. I don't know if that was a spelling error or he's just memeing on me, but yeah, I think we're speculating here because I don't know if this was actually a real thing or if I just had a fever dream and imagined it. But if Nether Demons are getting buffed, it means that the higher tier dungeons are going to be a lot harder. And I think we can also expect the middle tier dungeons to also be harder with the new monsters he's going to introduce. I think if the buffs are confirmed. Oh, it was your boy. It was your boy talking about it. Actually, your boy Lee. I don't know if I was supposed to say that. Anyways.
Who knows? But regardless, it brings up a whole bunch of ideas. Like we've started to get to the point, like, because in August, September-ish, when he rolled out the monetization change, he started to build layers off of that decision, right? And every single layer he adds is adding complexity to the previous layers as well. Right, so I think that's something people are not taking into consideration as much. So if we're getting 30 new enemies, what is that going to mean for bounty quests? It's going to be much more versatile. Like you won't, it's going to force you to travel to more locations and go through different types of encounters. Which I don't know, it could make it easier for people to complete bounties. It could make it harder for people to complete bounties. I don't know, but it compounds on itself, I guess, is my point, right?
I think at the very least, it creates diversity, which I think is something missing from bounties right now. I think there's not enough to do. And I think it'd be really cool if the bounties change from, oh, I really hope I get lucky and have this blockchain item in my stash, to, oh, I might have to venture out and do a map I'm not comfortable doing or a map I've never done before in order to complete a bounty, where 3 stars, it's not like, hey, I got to mine a lot and I have to do some engineering, it's, hey, I got to try a harder map instead of, hey, I need to hope I have this 40 engine item that's out of the pool, you know? And I hope that's a change that comes. And I think it's going to be a thing that comes into play in the very near future, especially with the Blockchain Emporium hopefully coming out somewhat soon.
In the near future.
Not in this patch,
we all have seen that image on posted by Cliff earlier today, right? Could we pull that one up, Leaf, if you know which one I'm talking about? I can probably send it to you. Do you guys know what I'm talking about?
I do not.
You do not, Striker. Let me just show you. It's basically an image that kind of shows what the blockchain Emporium
he showed
will be looking like.
Yeah.
What
And
the heck? Did I miss this?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
just
yeah.
got out of the office, so.
I did post it.
You know,
I
while
mean,
he
keep
pulls
going,
that
yeah.
up, I think it, you know, I think on top of like the blockchain emporium and like, you know, one of the things that always has been in my mind since I started like really playing and investing in Lost Relics has been this idea of the bridge between both the like the real world economy, the physical world economy, and the crypto economy, like and the game's economy having on ramps for both, right? Like whether that means you being able to buy penance with debit cards, credit cards, whatever, or you being able to buy NFTs with crypto, right? So like they both work like hand in hand. So when Cliff mentions things like let me find the exact quote because I have it right here, because he had mentioned in the update there regarding to like the new payment solution, he had said they also have all relevant certifications and legal processes in place to allow custody of funds as well as payout. Normally when I've heard that throughout like other type of crypto research, like it's always been around like institutions like wanting to skip the whole part about learning like personal custody, and have all been talking about like, look, just provide us the service of taking care of our crypto the same way a bank does. Provide us the service of taking care of our dollars, right?
Yeah.
So when he says the word custody, like he's obviously not an institution. So that didn't make much sense to me until I started thinking about what does it mean, and I don't know if this is the case, but I started thinking about what does it mean to involve some type of NFT custody?
How
You know,
would that work? NFT
like-
custody.
like what I meant more along the lines of like, if all of these, if you're buying and selling games, items inside, you know, this virtual world that is also on the blockchain, right? Someone has to have possession of those NFTs to be able to make a transaction happen. Right now it's player to player, right? Like you have your weapon, you want to sell it to me, you have to send it to me. Right? When we started talking about the general idea of the in-game marketplace, it was everybody is sending it to the in-game wallet, and that quote unquote Cliff would be the one that makes these transactions for us,
Right.
like between people, right? But there's obviously legal issues and red tape around that. But if you have a different company that can come in and provide that type of service for Lost Relics as a business, it now opens up a whole new avenue of potential. Again, complete speculation, but like when I hear those things, like those are where my mind goes.
I mean, he covers his bases more if that's the case, right? Especially if the player base explodes, it'd probably be a lot for one person to keep track of, I guess. On top of,
but also the responsibility, right? Because like, let's say Kenzie moves some transcendent items into the game wallet, right? And like, the idea is that it's being held by the game, but it belongs to Kenzie.
Yes.
So wouldn't you, as a business owner, be like, man, that's a lot of responsibility. Maybe I should, you know, hire or contract out someone to provide that service who is literally in the business of doing that every day.
I gotcha. So you're saying that like it's something that you think maybe it's been on his mind and it could be a solution for that problem that he thinks that might be on his plate. Right? Because like
potentially
that already exists, right? Like this is literally what exists right now. Is right now, if Kenzie puts his item into the game wallet and item goes boom, somehow, what happens? We don't know.
It just somebody is going to have the idea of you owning your NFTs means that someone has the responsibility of taking care of it. So whose responsibility that is, and who bears the consequences of issues that could arise? Like those are all questions. Like as a business owner, you would have to ask yourself.
Gotcha. No, for sure. And I think on a similar notion, I think we can take a step back even, and maybe some people that don't follow the Lost Relics news as much, we can maybe explain what the fundamentals of what we're talking about is. If you guys don't mind, I just explain the Emporium and stuff. Maybe Kenzie can go ahead and go into detail on like what we're talking about and why this is necessary, or why Cliff thinks it's necessary.
Sorry, can you elaborate? I was not.
Yeah,
there.
just the
What do you think
Emporium in general.
Yeah, what does it accomplish? What's the problems that it solves?
Can you take it away, Strike?
Oh, just more along the lines of like, right now we have a gas fee issue, which we always know that, right? This is a potential solution to get around that gas fee issue, and of course, solutions have other ramifications, right? What those could be, who knows? Cliff's building that out right now.
Yeah. Yeah, and yeah, essentially we have right now. If you start Lost Relics, and if you're new to Lost Relics and you're watching this might be helpful for you. And you want to buy something on the marketplace, you got to go to NGINX. And the issue with NGINX right now is there are gas fees, and every time you buy something, you have to pay Ethereum to. Well, you're compensating the miners, right? The miners who are processing the transaction, and depending on how busy the network is, you're paying more in fees. And that's for selling, that's for transferring wallet to wallet, and that's buying off the marketplace. And those gas fees aren't directly in relation to Lost Relics, but the entire Ethereum network. So if the network is busy for nothing related to what you're buying, it doesn't matter, you're paying more in fees. So we have these layer 2 solutions that are going to be implemented soon. For instance, we have JumpNet, which JumpNet is supposed to be a platform where we can pretty much trade things, buy and sell things pretty much with no gas fees, very, 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 very minimal fees. But what Cliff wants to do is he wants to make an in-game Emporium, so all of the items that already exist can easily be transferred into game and sold for what we'll call Cliff Bucks. So Cliff Bucks is going to be a new token in game that's going to be 1-to-1 with JumpNet Engine, which is 1-to-1 with Engine. Kenzie, you want to say something?
As you can see on that image, I don't know if you guys
the red little token represents what we're going to call Cliff Bucks, and one Cliff Buck is going to be the equivalent of one Geng, which is equivalent to one Eng. So let's say you want Eng. Let's say you want Geng. You're going to trade one Eng. Let's say you want 10 Geng. You're going to go in your wallet on your Engine wallet, and you're going to trade 10 Engine for 10 Geng. And you're going to be like, you know what? I want to buy some stuff on the JumpNet, on Cliff's blockchain Emporium. So you're going to go to Cliff, and you're going to say, hey, Cliff, I have 10 Geng, and he's going to give you 10 Cliff Bucks. And you're going to go on the Emporium, and you're going to buy all the things you want to buy with your 10 Cliff Bucks. And what this is going to do is it's not only going to stimulate the Lost Relics. Sorry, let me backtrack. We're not only going to have a stimulation of the Lost Relics gold economy and virtual items economy, but in the game, you're actually going to be able to make trades. And we are going to see this as I think it's going to be blind marketplace, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he mentioned that, yeah.
Which means it's going to be, in my opinion, a little bit of an upgrade from the Engine marketplace, where you could pretty much undercut someone by 0.5 Engine because you see what it is. And it's more so going to be like, you're going to put your prices in, and you're going to put your buy offers in, and you're going to just put in what you think is fair value. And if it buys, and if not, you put it higher.
Right. And I think the thing with that too is like those buy offers and sell offers, they don't update until the next day. So people can be trading multiple times and maybe see the previous price before. And I guess for some, it could be a little bit deceiving, right? So some people could maybe get better bargains or worse bargains, or think, prices at X amount when really it's, a few Engine more or less. So I think it's kind of like a cool way to keep the sellers like competitive, not really knowing what the other person has it listed for. And, same goes for the buyers.
Okay, so I hadn't seen that picture before. I mean, that's kind of what I thought it was going to work like, but now it kind of makes a little more, like, I think it could make a little more sense. A crypto-based solution, payment solution, can just be like, if you sell your item right here, you get these Cliff Bucks. You can exchange the Cliff Bucks to go into an account with whatever payment solution Cliff has.
Yep.
And they're custodying your crypto until you choose to withdraw it to your
Yep.
personal wallet. And that's outside of Cliff's responsibility now.
Yep. It's like you predicted it without even knowing what it looked like here, which is pretty awesome.
That makes more sense.
And if
Makes
he's
sense.
not calling it Cliff Bucks, we riot. So if he puts a poll and he's like, "What do I call this shit?"
No. We can't call it Cliff Bucks. We can't.
Yeah,
Just
actually,
'cause
yeah,
of
that's true. That's
legal
true.
and accounting
That's true. Actually, yeah.
issues.
Okay, well, there's a bunch of reasons why we can't do that, but we'll call it maybe C Bucks. Well, maybe we can do C Bucks. That'd be kind of cool. Are we good to get this image out of the way, or do you guys want to talk more about this
I
image?
think so.
Cool.
Yeah, doesn't matter.
So I'm gonna. Okay, cool. So there's something else I was thinking about talking about. Yeah, we touched on this briefly, but let's look at Odinspire Sands. So Cliff said, Odinspire Sands desperately needs some new monsters. The monsters are just placeholders right now, and the new adventures need monsters too. Do you guys think he's gonna make Odinspire Sands harder? Is he going to make it a more viable map for people? Because right now, I don't think people ran it for anything other than Arcane Blue Blossoms, if I'm being honest. Because that was
and Galaxy Stones.
and Galaxy Stones
at a higher level. Yeah.
And as of right now, it's literally just, it seems like it's a placeholder map with a bunch of random enemies. So he obviously intends to change that. Do you think he's going to change it to make it its own thing and it's going to be harder? Or do you think he's just trying to mold it into its own kind of feel?
It's a members cavern, right? A members dungeon?
I think so, yeah.
Yep.
I think so, yeah. Pretty sure.
Yeah, if he wants to experiment, it's a good question.
Because right now it just feels boring, right? Like, and I think it's because it's a placeholder. Yeah, Kenzie, go ahead.
Would you say there's any difficulty right now? And I ask this from your perspective as newer players, because I mean, Striker and I have gone into this new map with the better items.
Mm-hmm.
You don't necessarily have. And from your perspective, do you consider the map to be what is it, four level difficulty?
No, I think Jared can touch on this even more because I've had good equipment for most of my time playing, and Jared pretty much is mostly free to play aside from a couple items. So what?
Yeah,
I feel like your
I mean,
opinion's
mostly
best.
besides a couple items, I'd say like you can probably rank me, I guess, better than like the average person or what the average person would have. So I mean, going into that adventure with those given items, I would say it's quite difficult at the start. Obviously, as you complete it more, you start familiarizing yourself with the layout, where the monsters are, where you need more health, where you need more energy. But yeah, no, for like a first run through, it was definitely a little bit like, I don't know if I want to go there, like Four Swords, Odinspire Sands, definitely took it slow my first time, but the more you play it, the more you get used to it. And I think even someone with items that are, lower tiered than mine, so like having blues, let's say I go in there with legendaries, it's still possible to do. I think it would just take them a little bit longer, just kind of take your time and stuff like that.
Yeah, and
So I think maybe if he changes it fully, that could maybe be a barrier with those players who are sort of taking a little bit longer to complete it, maybe not being able to complete it. It really depends on what he does.
I just remember when me and Jared were brand new to the game. I think I was playing for a day and a half at this point. Jared was playing for like 4.5 days, and Drift goes into Sands by accident, doesn't know what the hell is happening. Everything's shooting fire at him. He has no idea what's going on. He's running to the beginning of the map. It was so scary. But like, I was gonna say, Jared, like Drift, he has like a. I think when you started doing it, you had like an epic bow and you had like a legendary.
I had an
melee.
epic bow, my blue cataclysm, and I think just like a bunch of virtual relics, along with my my Ardanium cookie. So that was like one of the few blockchain items I had. And then it wasn't until later I got the bottle of enchanted powers.
And so, I'm gonna be honest, I don't think Cliff's intention with a map like that, for a map that's supposed to be in the second highest difficulty, I don't think he intends you to do it with the stuff that Drift has. So that's why I think it's gonna be harder for sure. And hopefully, as Deck points out in the chat, he gets rid of those stupid invisible barriers because I can't click half the time. Kenzie, you want to say something?
What do you?
Oh,
my bad. Go for it, Kenzie.
I was just gonna say, I think it's a good point that you just mentioned, Aaron, that it is going to be more difficult. And I think the fact that he is introducing at least one map that is a level 3 difficulty, which kind of allows us, newer players to play something different without having to, be able to manage a level 4 difficulty with low tier items.
Yeah. I think I'm just making my personal predictions. I think that the new maps we might get will be 3-star, 3-star, 2-star, rather than 4 or 5-star difficulty. That's just a guess. But also, going back to the idea of combat changes, like I know we can't predict anything out, but like what seems more realistic to you? That the combat changes result from changes in enemies, which we know we're getting new enemies, or from your personal character, like your personal character can do more?
Can you repeat the question? What was the first part of that?
Is the combat going to change? The combat change is going to be related to the enemies, like new enemy archetypes or resistances or whatever, or is it going to be a new ability that you can add on? Like, is it more? I guess are the combat changes in your control or in the enemy's control?
I'm gonna say I'm very confident that it's going to be both. I don't think there's any reason for him to introduce new enemies that don't necessarily do anything different, because it doesn't add a dynamic to the game that doesn't already exist. I don't think Cliff's the type of developer to just insert things that just look different, because I don't know when everything... Are Sorellas new? Are those new monsters in retrospect to the entire game?
No, I don't think so.
They came in with mounts, didn't they?
They came in with mount.
And when did mount come out?
In
November,
August.
maybe? Wasn't it after? Mount didn't come straight away.
Was it? It didn't come straight away?
No, it didn't come straight away. The day it came out, I remember everything was overpowered and everybody died in it. It didn't come straight away.
And what about Nether Demons?
Oh, you're right.
They came after the same time as Sorellas, I reckon.
So has there been any new mobs with new mechanics in the last 7 months?
I mean, I think the biggest thing we're starting to see is like, I mean, I don't know how, I don't think it's proven, but I think it's obvious, right? That now flying enemies have resistances that didn't used to exist, right?
Oh, okay.
It was like one of the patch made it to where like, hey, you know what it was? When he changed it to where Odinspire Sand had environmental effects, like you using your bow and sands with the wind started messing stuff up, right?
Bro, I hate
Same
that.
thing.
Feels so weak.
Same thing with the rock monsters, like the Grod.
The Grod, yes.
Wasn't he stupid OP when he came out? Couldn't you not do any damage with the bow at all? Like, didn't it do it like bounce?
It's actually not when it came out. So originally it did this like same damage as every other monster, and then he made that change where it did like 10% of the damage. Like instead of 1,000, you did literally 100. It was not doing any damage. And then too many people were complaining, so he upped it again to whatever it is now, maybe 60 or 70% of the damage. I reckon.
And that's something I was actually going to bring up. It's going to be nice. I think he'll have 3-star maps. That'll be awesome, but that they won't have Grods and a lot of poison, which will be nice, because I know a lot of players that are trying to get into that like middle tier of the gameplay. They're like, okay, I don't have enough energy relics to kill the Grods on trail. And I'm not patient enough and don't have the survivability to go to swaps. So it's like, it's a rough mix. It's really cool, because I think we're gonna get some really cool stuff. It's pretty much confirmed we're getting a beach map and a cave map, right? I know the beach map is confirmed.
The beach map is confirmed.
Yeah,
I'm not sure about the cave map. We don't really know.
I mean, let's speculate for a second. All right, he talked about the crab on the podcast. He said, "I'm not going to drop a crab on a map in a forest. It doesn't make any sense. It needs like crabs are in caves and stuff."
Wait, a crab is at the beach, Aaron.
I swear he said the cave. I swear he said cave for the crab.
I think he did, but I agree with Kenzie though.
I think we're gonna get a map that's both.
Imagine you start on the beach and then you enter like this cave environment. This I always wanted. This is something I've been telling him since day one. Is like we need to be able to like change environments from within an adventure.
That's where I was going, by the way. So I'm not crazy. I'm not crazy because
you're not completely crazy. No, when you said like crab means cave, it's like wait a minute. What kind of caves do you have in Canada?
I think he slipped up. I think he slipped up not because he meant to say beach, but I think there might be a joint map. That's what I think. And Cliff's watching this being like, "No, you idiot! I just misspoke."
To backtrack on the combat changes, I'm just gonna read what he said on the announcement. Right, He mentions there will be mini bosses and final bosses. I'm still working out the dynamics for these, and I've had to make some combat changes to allow for these updates. But it's going to be epic. And I think this bit where he says, "But it's going to be epic." I don't think Cliff is the like to overhype something, because he knows that if he does overhype something, doesn't get to the people's standards, it's gonna be trash for it. So I think he's very confident in what he's building, which excites me.
Yeah, one thing that I've
Definitely.
always one thing that has always stuck out to me when talking with Cliff or like watching his previous streams or whatever has been his level of confidence in himself. And just I don't want to say, I don't know how to put it. Like, it's not confidence in terms of like there's no reason based on the work he's done in the past for him not to believe he can't do something. Does that make sense? I don't know how if I'm phrasing it the right way, but like,
Yeah.
I look at it like I've done this 100 times before. I can do this easily, right? Just it comes down to time and implementation.
Yeah.
You know,
no.
that's a certain level of confidence that I think is super important, right?
Yeah, no, I agree. And the thing is, like, I haven't been around for that long. You guys could probably comment on this more, but like, even the Easter patch, which was really awesome and like people really loved and really enjoyed, he didn't say anything that remotely resembled the confidence that he put in this post, right? Like, how
Agreed.
often does he talk like this, Kenzie Striker? Like, have you guys seen him put an announcement like this before?
Um,
Maybe August.
The fact that you have to think means no, probably.
Yeah,
it's- yeah.
exactly. Like I was gonna say maybe the August update when he did all the big changes with skills and
Mhm.
everything. I think that's when he had this kind of level of confidence, and this goes to show that a big patch is coming. And
I don't
also,
know.
sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good.
I was gonna say I also think we need to keep in mind that. Oh my god, my thing is
Timing.
falling. There's a ghost in my house.
While Kenzie fixed that, I just want to let you guys know that on the hour, for every hour we're streaming, we're gonna be giving away a dog tag. So we're gonna improv and think of some cool ways to give it away. So don't forget, we're giving away some custom NVB NFT Gaming client tags that are minted onto JumpNet. So stay tuned. But yeah, Kenzie, go ahead.
I was just gonna say that I think Cliff has mentioned that there are 2 updates coming, right? We have the first one with whatever he has mentioned in that announcement post, but then we're getting a second update as well with probably the blockchain marketplace and maybe other things that won't make the first update. So it's not just one thing. It's really like, I think 2 medium to big things that are coming. It's not going to be ultra as huge as the August update, in my opinion, but it's still going to be pretty game changing.
Oh yeah, that's the thing. I'm not saying it's like going to be the levels of, oh my god, we're moving over from Forgotten Artifacts to Lost Relics and the entire game is different. I'm just saying, like, he is obviously very confident with the level of change and the things that he's introducing, which is like awesome to me, because I mean, we all love this game, but we can all agree it can get very grindy at times, and it's nice to get something new. And the thing is, grinding the same dungeon over and over again, I can do that fine, but a lot of people can't. Grinding bosses that are very difficult, where you have to strategize and learn and maybe ask other people what they should be doing more, and then trying other maps and then going back to those bosses is a lot better. Because like right now, your break from grinding the maps is to do skills, right? But the skills are also grindy. But we get bosses that are difficult, where we're gonna have to actually use our skill and use our brain to be able to strategize in order to beat them. Will be a nice break from the maps, and the maps will be a nice break from that when we get bored of that. So it's like, I feel like we're finally getting this dynamic of different things in the game, and I love this. I love the way Cliff talks about it. He says this, for him developing this game, he does it in layers like an onion, where he wants to build the base, and that's why he has very basic mechanics, very basic maps, basic enemies, and basic skills, and he wants to build on that. And I feel like this might be one of the last like basic building blocks, is having basic encounters. Then we're going to look at basic multiplayer, and then I think he's really going to start expanding outwards to like finally like eventually work on finishing the project and making it a little bit more sophisticated than it is right now, because it's an amazing game. But like he said in the podcast, it's basic because he wants to build it out and have the fundamentals first. And I think we're really close to being finished with the fundamentals, which I'm really excited about.
When do you have when are you thinking the fundamentals will be set? I'm thinking end of 2021. Are you thinking earlier than that?
No, I think that's reasonable. And I think it's hard to tell what he thinks is fundamentals, but for me, it's multiplayer's out. We have boss encounters. We have maps. We have skills. We have a proper marketplace, whether that be through his Emporium or through JumpNet, whatever he decides in the end. I don't think PvP is necessary for the fundamentals. I think PvP comes after the layers are already completed because we need the complete combat system in order to accommodate PvP. So I think end of 2021 is not ambitious. I think it's a reasonable expectation.
Imagine we get multiplayer with this update. Imagine.
Oh my god!
I think that would be too like groundbreaking. Because
Relax.
he's also releasing.
Yeah, take
he's
a breath.
also opening up new account registrations. So it'd be like, oh my god, everyone run!
That's a huge one, right?
That's
That
something.
that means two things at least. It means that whatever his current infrastructure is to be able to handle the amount of players, he's confident in increasing that. So that's big. And then number two, I mean, as a player, as an investor, as a speculator, you know, the next question is: we hit an all-time high of 30,000 individual players. What do you think would be the new cap at which he closes it again?
Yeah,
I'm personally thinking 45,000.
I think it's contingent
on how many players join at one time versus the number of players.
I don't think it was just that. I think it had more to do with the infrastructure of how the blockchain items worked, more like as in conjunction with the fact that he didn't want an incredibly heavy load on the servers while he was making these big updates. And what I mean by that is everyone's well aware that right now you play Lost Relics, a blockchain item is a rarity, and you might grind for an extended period of time and you might not get a blockchain item. And I'm okay with this. I'm playing the game now to get myself ahead for the future when there are blockchain items and because I enjoy the game. But I don't think he wants this game getting incredibly popular and people coming in and giving up on the game because it's really hard to earn. And I think that's one of the reasons he closed signups. And I'm going to say this in conjunction, and this is like on the record, but this isn't me saying it's going to happen. I really do think the items that he minted, I think we're going to start seeing them as drops during the new patch, because I really do think he wants to introduce new players and reward the players that have been playing with items as opposed to us just grinding to grind. And that's one of the main reasons I think he closed the signups.
I also think that one thing that we're not considering is just the volume of requests that he gets, either be it through Discord, loads of spam on Discord that gets on me and the other mods, loads of spam on Telegram. That is frustrating as a solo dev, right? Seeing all those messages of people complaining of not being able to drop this or that. And then there's even the email support that we're not even seeing, but there's hundreds of messages a day of people messaging him being like, this is broken, look into this, look into that, like people doubting him. And I think it's just a matter of shutting all of that down so he can focus and stop looking. He'd rather get messages of people asking for access to the game rather than crying about lack of content in the game, right?
Yeah, it makes complete sense. Like, I'm going through tax season too, and once I get to the heavy part, like once I get to the point where I'm like, I can't take all these phone calls or all these emails, I'm like, look, we're not onboarding clients for 2-3 weeks. So it makes complete sense what you just said.
Yeah, and it's like, I think at the end of the day, we all have to take a step back, and it's like, yes, it can be frustrating playing a lot and not getting anything, or playing hours and hours and like being really high level and not getting like a high level item. But it's like, before you message Cliff and complain, and before you post in general chat and complain and stuff, you got to remember, man, this guy is trying his best to do everything, and he's trying to get to the point where he has funding in order to make a team, to make a proper team, so that he doesn't have to do all this bullshit, right? Like, yes, you should be able to complain, but there should be someone other than Cliff responding to your complaints. And I think eventually, once we get to the point, it'll be a lot easier for him. But I agree with Kenzie. Like, that's something that I didn't even consider, actually, because I mean, Cliff used to be like he still interacts with the community, but from what you guys talk about, he used to be like an integral part. Like, he used to chill with you guys, and I mean, you played when there were 20-30 players online at most at a time, right? So, and everyone knew each other. Back then it was a lot easier for Cliff, but it's getting to the point where this project is blowing up. I know right now we don't have as many players because signups have closed, but this guy has to deal. He's the accountant. He's the financial advisor for the project. He's the developer.
And he's the employee.
He's the employee.
He's the
He's the web developer. He's the Discord admin. Like, it's crazy.
And he's a husband. He's a husband.
Yeah, exactly.
He has to like imagine
Right.
working 18-hour days and then also like sleeping, but also taking care of that wife you have.
Yeah, I mean,
Sounds
it's game-
complicated.
Yeah, no,
it's a lot. It's a lot.
I'm not saying like he is immune to criticism. All I'm saying is, before you think of sending him a message on the website or in the Telegram, remember he's human and he's trying his best to make a game that we're all gonna love. Because at the end of the day, like, man, like, if you watch any of his content, you know this guy is in it for the community and he wants to make something that we're all gonna love playing. Like, if he wanted it to be a money grab, he'd release weapons on the website that you could spend $1,000 on, and people would buy them. Like, no question, I would buy them. But we don't want that.
Yep.
Like, when people talk about the game being pay to win, it's not Cliff who's selling the items. It's secondary market. Cliff is trying to make it so you can get the items as drops. And recently he hasn't been able to do that because the blockchain requires an incredible amount of money in fees for him to mint one item. So he hasn't been able to do that. So he's waiting for JumpNet, which is not his fault. He's waiting for access for him to be able to mint on another platform. So,
I also think it's just unrealistic player expectations about some stuff. Just it's not realistic, you know.
Oh, people genuinely, and this is not a joke. This has happened. People genuinely say, "Can you?" I've gotten these messages as well. It's can you make it so, or can you ask Cliff to make it so that I can just drop blockchain items when I'm at work? Like, the guy doesn't want to play the actual game; he just wants to have the blockchain items, and it's like, what is? I don't know.
You can go to work and you can pay for those blockchain items. I mean, that's the whole thing about the economy, right? Is that like these, at least when it comes to weapons and relics, like these items provide progress within the game. Yes, I get it. You can also progress much more slowly using virtual items, right? To a point.
Mhm.
And he's still building both progression systems out. Okay, but if the moment you take away the weapons and the relics, the moment you take away the amount of time that's required to obtain them, is the moment that the economy for the players dies.
Exactly.
Because then it's just a centralized video game like all others.
Yeah, and
You don't have a real world economy no more. Like, the valuation on a majority of these items is based on, or at least my personal opinion, is probably based on time the most.
yeah, and that's why. Okay, I want to say this. I'm not making like a pun or anything. I've heard people say pay to earn for this game before, and it's like, it's strictly play to earn. And you know how I know that? I've been playing this game. Jared knows this better than anyone too. We've been playing this game for 2 months, and we haven't gotten any legendary blockchain items. Really good example is Devilish in the chat. Was probably level 15 and he got a Rain of Fire at the time, was worth 2,500 end. This guy was playing with free to play shit and he got a Rain of Fire. Like, anyone can get it. What's this? Grusher got a Krungle, Transcendent Bow in Swamps. Yeah, Devilish was level 15. Like, it doesn't matter if you have the best shit. You might never get anything good. It's about the time you put into it. And it's RNG. Like, we play these games, we're rolling a die. Every time we kill a monster, you're rolling a dice to get something. I guess more so the dice are rolled before you get it, when you get in the dungeon. But anyways, there are dice being rolled, and if you hit the dice, you win big. And if not, you don't. And yes, having better items increases the amount of times you get the dice rolls, right?
It gets meant to just not be hung up, Ken.
Strike two.
But at the end of the day, this game is play to earn, and you could buy the best stuff and not get any drops, right?
Yeah.
No,
for sure. I was gonna say, even touching on that, like when we first joined the game, going back to the play to earn aspect, like when we first joined the game, he knew there was new players coming, and he had these blues dropping, sort of, preparing those new players to get excited about their drop and keep using it to progress. And now he's sort of doing that same thing. If you go to the website, you can see these new items like the Black Death, just these new ingots, new weapons and stuff like that. yes, they may be a higher tier, but he's doing that same sort of thing. He's preparing for the new wave when he then opens up the game. And these new players, of course, not all, but some will get lucky. They'll get drops and they'll be able to keep playing and progressing and, telling others of what they got. So I
Yeah.
think he's smart in that aspect. He knows like what he has to do and he does it at the right time.
Yeah, and there
Yeah,
are new blues as well that are minted, by the way. There are new blue weapons.
Exactly. Yeah, there are a couple. Exactly. You're right.
and I mean, also all these players that are like talking about like play to earn within the game, like the game itself should allow me to play and earn, and that is the only monetization of the game, and that's not true. Like more players are making more money trading the items on their own, like taking their own putting their own items at risk, based on their own decisions, than they are from items that are being dropped in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Buying and flipping and trading and playing the player to player economy, that's the play to earn model. Can you get these items also in the game by hitting major drops or accomplishing major quests? Like, yes, but like that's not going to be the main driver of the earning for most players in the future. It's going to be what we do with each other, what systems we build, like whether it is like that you trust a certain group to be able to like make trades with, or whether it is this idea we go back about like reputation, someone's vouching for you, like that's a valuable, those things are valuable. Like, they may not be super expensive like a transcendent item, but it is something to build off of.
Yeah, and like I'm not gonna sit here and plug the Discord. This is just on the same note. It's just like, I mean, that's like part of the reason we built the community that we have with the NFT Gaming Discord. It started with, this was even before Striker and Kenzie were a part of it. Me, Drift, and some other people. We were just chilling and we were streaming, and we're like, man, it'd be nice if we had a Discord for like, because we're big collectors. Like, I'm sure Jer has a bunch nearby. I have all of these graded cards near me, and we're like, it would be really nice if we had a community for like the small streams we have to be able to like trade, and maybe even in the future we could do like NFTs for collectibles and stuff. We didn't end up doing that, but the original goal was to have a community where people could chill and talk and have a safe place to trade. And honestly, I can safely say the community has really become that, where we have a bunch of verified traders, and I have like, maybe not as much recently, but when the market was active, I'd have at least two dozen people messaging me per day, whether it was for advice with trades or vouchers for them or vouchers from me for other people and stuff. And yeah, like you said, Strike, the real money right now, at least, is in the player-to-player market, whether it be through the marketplace or through wallet-to-wallet. And it's like, I don't know, it's really cool because it's like you have so many games within Lost Relics. You have the game, you have the Emporium right now, where you can flip items, buy items, invest in items you think will go up in the future, and you have that exact same thing in the Nginx marketplace and wall-to-wall transactions, where you can just like, I don't know, literally while you're not playing the game, you're on your phone. Oh, make some deals, make some money, buy some new items.
I think right now the main part of people are blinded by by the entire crypto market, right? Like the money making opportunities with crypto in general, and then they look at games like Axie, which I've, by the way, never played, but people are making hundreds of thousands of dollars, playing that game, if I can use that verb. And then people come to Lost Relics and expect the same sort of gains. They want to put it $10 and pull out $1 million, and when it doesn't happen, when they realize there's an opportunity like that, they get angry because they feel like they've been cheated on. They feel like the game is trash because they don't have the opportunity like people had on Axie 6 months ago, right?
No, I don't know. I mean, to be honest, I don't really even know how to respond to that, because it's not a fair comparison. Two, it's not. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense for you to put in $10 and for you to walk out with 10,000. Like, I mean, I know we're in crypto. Like, I get it. Like, I get that it happens in other aspects, but
that's what they really
seem logical.
You know what? I want to say one thing. Expecting that bad, don't expect it. But we'd be lying if we say it couldn't happen in Lost Relics, because it has.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool, though.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm completely bastardizing what you're trying to say, and I'm completely taking it out of
No, I think you're right.
But I agree with you in the fact that the key word there is expectation, right? I don't think any of us should go into the game expecting to make a living off of it. If it so happens that you can, whether it be through playing or through flipping, that's amazing, but it shouldn't be what you expect from the game or from Cliff.
The matter of the fact is, even if the game, in my opinion, right, and I think this should be the consensus in general, is that even if the game gives you $10 or $5 or $1.50, be happy for it, get excited for it, because I've been playing game for 20 years of my life and I've never gotten anything back from it except for fun. This game gives me fun, entertainment, a lot of grinding, but it gets me something back if I do drop a blockchain item, which I have over the months, right? And I think this is something that people are just ignoring for some reason. Like, they get $1, like they drop an uncommon item, right, and a common sword, and they're like, oh, it's an eng. Screw this. Like, give me a rare, give me an epic, give me a legendary, give me a transcendent. But they don't appreciate the value of the actual blockchain item that they're getting that is worth $2 to $5 to $10, which is more than any other game has ever given me in for everybody, right? Except for professional players. Nobody else has gotten any dime from any video game they've played, right?
Yeah, unless you're a gold farmer, a rank booster, or
that's all illegal. Unless
yeah, exactly.
you're a criminal.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like,
that's the point. That's the point I'm making. The only way you're making money is by being a streamer, a professional gamer, or by breaking the terms of service of the game that you're devoting all your time to. And it's like, this isn't me praising Cliff. This is me praising this new ecosystem that we're in. I'm gonna say new, that we're all early to, is NFT Gaming. It's the name of this stream. It's the fact that we are so early into all of these projects, like, and it's just like, I feel blessed because, like, I feel early, even though a lot of people are like, oh, we missed it. Like, back in the day, like, you could drop a transcendent so easily. I was talking to someone yesterday who I made a deal with for a blue gram, and he's like, I hope you get a transcendent. I'm like, a man can dream. And he sends me screenshots. He's like, here are 2 transcendents I dropped when the game started. CryptoZad, if you're watching, thanks for the deal yesterday. But he showed me 2 transcendents. He's like, you should dream big. And I'm like, that's awesome. Like, this guy held his items for a long time, and now he's selling and he's making thousands of dollars because he was early to this. And we might not be that early, but we're still really early. This game is still in early access. All of these crypto games that we're so excited for, Mist, Ember Sword, I'll say Guild of Guardians, I'll put it there. Anyways, they haven't even come out yet. All these games that everyone's so excited for, AAA game studios are like not even in the space yet. Like, if you don't think you're early, like, you need to rethink your strategy and just rethink your mindset and remember that this hasn't taken off yet. People don't know about this. People aren't talking about NFT games in the news. Kids don't know about NFT games yet. You're in early. Try to enjoy yourself and try the games you like. If you like card games, try Gods Unchained. If you like ARPGs, try Lost Relics. And if you want like some passive moneymakers, go play Alien Worlds and Our Planet. There's gonna be so many projects for us because of how early we are to this. Even if you weren't the first one to do it, you are early. Sorry, I keep going on these little rants.
You're on mute if you didn't realize.
I'm going to leave you guys for a second. I'm going to go to the bathroom and give myself a chance to shut up. So I'll be back in a minute.
Go for it. God, I lost my flow now. Oh yeah, I think a good example of the fact that we're really early is that just look at what the market did yesterday. In the past week, as a consequence to what one person said, one person tweeted something, and the entire market moved the way it did, and then other things happened on top of that, right? But the fact that Elon Musk can just make one tweet and then the entire market tax 30% or something like that just goes to show how early we are and how low the amount of money is in the overall blockchain industry, let alone the NFT gaming industry.
Yeah, I think you're completely right. And it's hard. I think it's hard for people to put it in perspective because in order to understand that you're early, you have to be able to predict the future, or at least a portion, like, of what the future will be, right? Because then you have something to base where you're at, right? So, like, a new player or a new person that's into crypto, I think it'd be really interesting, Jay, to get your perspective on some things because, right now with what happened yesterday in the crypto markets, like, the big discussion I keep hearing is about how all these new people that came in on between January and March, like all got wiped out yesterday, right? So I keep hearing this idea about how, they're new, they don't really understand what's happening. Like, I don't really agree with it 100%. I get why that's the narrative, but like as a new player, as someone new to crypto, like how did you feel when you started versus right now?
I mean, coming into the space, I first originally was in crypto back in like 2017, 2018. Obviously had my fair share of success, like I'm sure most people around that time, along with the downfall. So
Fair
I
enough.
think it was that big downfall that kind of just threw me away from crypto for a little bit. Kind of still watching it, checking the charts, just like keeping up to date. But in terms of investing, kind of just being on the sidelines,
Yeah. In that case, like my bad on the phrasing, but then in that case, did you get feelings of 2017 when you saw what happened yesterday?
A little bit, yes. A little bit, not as much, but a little feel like, oh, like this could be sort of doing a repeat process of what happened back then. Yeah.
Okay.
In a
I mean,
sense.
it's good perspective, right? Like you're feeling, you're applying what you feel, and I felt it too. Like, I mean, I remember going through that 2017 crash, and
Yeah, it was tough.
it was crazy, right? I don't know. I personally don't think that's where we're at right now. But
I don't think to that extent, no.
yeah, but I think it's going to be interesting to see what happened to the whole player base of people that came in, started to play Lost Relics, getting new to crypto in 2021, and now we're having to go through some of these things.
All
But
right.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm a bad person to speak on that because I feel like my mindset is really, really different from most people who got into crypto recently, and I think we talked about that on my stream strike. And Jer, it's weird because Jer also isn't. I had you guys muted while I was in the bathroom, but Jer's also not new to crypto either because he was in the game back in 2017, right, Jer? So it's like, I don't know. For me, I'm new to crypto, but like I told Striker on my stream, I don't really care that engine price dipped like and lost 50% because I wasn't planning on cashing it anyways. If anything, it means I can get more deals on Lost Relic stuff because people are panic selling. So for me, it has actually no impact. So I don't know. I wish I had a better answer for you, but I feel like it's hard to be in this position. And I mean, we've just been seeing a upwards trend pretty much since March, right? Since I entered the game, everything's been going up, up, up. Ethereum, Bitcoin, all these shit coins that rhymed, and like engine, right? And it's like a lot of people investing are like, hey, like, holy shit, like, oh, amp to $1, yeah, give it to me. Oh yeah, Doge to $1, yeah, give that to me too. And then everything just goes down. And I'm sure a lot of people panic sold yesterday, and it's unfortunate because I don't know. I mean, who knows? Maybe it goes lower and they panic sold at the actual dip, and maybe it tanks. But I don't know. All I know is I'm holding on to my shit. Not saying you guys should. Not financial advice at all. But
I think there's an interesting image that Leafy just put up. If you want to put it on stream, it's a comparison of the Bitcoin price now compared to 2016 to 2018.
I think Mitch
and
linked
we're
this.
in an extremely similar pattern.
Mitch linked this yesterday, right?
I have it on my phone. Let me see if there's a way that I.
Oh, I have it up. I have it up on the stream. Mitch posted this yesterday. He said, I think he said something like, I hear Striker's words echoing in my brain or something.
Yes, he did.
And it's true because, I mean...
Yeah, so I'm a big fan. That comes from GMI, Global Macro Investors. There's this company called Real Vision right now with Raul Powell. And they're the ones that came up with that analysis or published that work. But my point is that I mean, they posted another breakdown yesterday of comparing Ethereum and Bitcoin at different points in time, and it's kind of scary how identical these charts are. Even though they're 4, 5, 6 years apart. And there's a bunch of different reasons, to try to explain it. Nobody really knows, but. I guess that's why I was going back to the idea of like what people are feeling now versus 2017, and one of the things that I think is important that I don't know if we probably don't, I don't know if we have any people that are watching the stream that are like in crypto hedge funds or crypto investment firms. But the one thing that I will note is that while Bitcoin, Ethereum, other cryptocurrencies were falling yesterday, a lot of these NFTs were selling and still holding the same price and valuation that they had the day before the crash and the day after the crash. So just
Yep.
different ways to diversify and protect yourselves when things go down, or up or vice versa, or whatever.
Yeah, like I was selling an Arcros ring for a while, and then I'm like, I don't want to sell it, and then the crash started happening, and gas is 500, and then someone buys my Arcros ring on market, paying $300 in gas, and then buys a Frostbite Dawn, paying $300 in gas within 2 minutes.
Yeah, but they held. Like my point is that if you were just a NFT gamer, if you just played games, collected this NFT, and you had you collected, you've been playing for a year or two, you have a good amount like saved up, like yesterday's crash, other than like your balance for Ethereum to be able to buy and send or to pay gas fees.
Yeah, my gas money.
You were not very affected.
Yeah, that's literally me. Like that's how I look at it. I'm gonna get off this chart. Thank you very much, Sean.
Yeah.
I'm gonna talk about that actually. I'll go more into it. I briefly touched on it. I was talking about this with the Striker on stream. I play Lost Relics, and that's the reason I got into crypto. I didn't get into crypto and found NFT games. I found Lost Relics through Drift and other friends that I have that played. And to me, it's really bad, but I look at it as the Ethereum as nothing more than gas money. I have Ethereum in my wallet to pay for transfer fees and to pay for buys and sales of items, purchases and sales of items. And I look at Eng as I evaluate it at above $3. So I don't care what the price of Eng at is. If it's lower, if it's $1, whatever, if it's $1.50, it's whatever. It seems like most Lost Relic items carry their Eng value, and the USD value kind of fluctuates. So like on one day, if a pumpkin's 350 Eng and Eng is at $1.50 and sells, it'll probably sell at the same Eng value the next day at $2. There are obviously exceptions to this rule, and it depends on who's selling and who's buying, of course, and it's not a strict rule. But like Striker says, some people don't look at Ethereum and Bitcoin as, oh, it's crashing, I'm screwed. They look at it as, oh, okay, my gas money is a little bit less now, or my gas money costs a little bit more now, or my 0.1 ETH is worth $40, but I can send the same items. Anyways, you guys want to?
So just to touch on that before we move on, do we think that if tomorrow, let's all pray that it doesn't happen, but if tomorrow Bitcoin goes back down to, fuck it, 5,000, 10,000, so the entire market crashes, what do we think the consequences are for Lost Relics and other games in the space, if any?
I'm buying a lot of shit for cheap.
I think it's really, really hard to tell. Like when you ask that question, I think everyone that's listening to the stream right now starts thinking about, will their NFT go up and down? But I don't think that's the best way to look at it. I think what makes a little more sense is that as a business, like as Lost Relics a business, right? Cliff is having to manage not only Ethereum for gas fees for gas fees, but also Engine for minting, right? So as he's planning out the future, that's where I see it having the most not detrimental, the biggest impact on what will happen to Lost Relics will be in that calculation. In terms of like player to player stuff, I think it's really hard just because we're still so small of a community that it really does come down to the individual person and what they think and what they feel and whether they're going to let something go or not let it go. So I think that's harder to predict out. But like, if Engine crashes, if the value of Engine crashes or the value of Ethereum skyrockets, I'm more concerned about like, what does that mean for the plans that Cliff had?
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, you guys talked about this. Striker talked about this. I think when we first started speaking in Discord, it's like Cliff's project has been here through the shit storm of all of these changes, right? And there are a lot of projects that started around the same time where Cliff started his projects, and they don't exist anymore, right? And the one thing I do know is that, yeah, those dips and those rises in price are going to change the plans he had. And look at like JumpNet and everything like this. It's changed what he's wanted to do. But I'm confident, and I'm saying this, and I'm hoping I don't jinx anything, but I'm confident that regardless of what happens, Cliff's going to continue working on the project, regardless of that. But the monetary implications it has on everyone else and how many people are going to stay into the game as a result is up for debate, I think. I wanna at least do the first clan tag giveaway. For now we're giving a couple away. Do you guys have any cool ideas? Like, should we ask like a trivia question to start? Maybe we'll give one away now and ask a trivia question about Lost Relics or about us. What do you guys think? Anyone have any fun ideas?
Yeah, we can do something Lost Relics based. I think that'd be suitable.
Is that actually something that only someone who watched the first, like the episode we did with Cliff on the podcast, can ask a question that can only be answered if you followed the stream back then?
Yeah, I think we can do like, we're gonna be doing like 3 or 4 dog tag giveaway or clan tag giveaways. So we could do one where it's like you're rewarded if you've been here long term. That's what we did with the other stream. I gave one clan tag away to the most active chatter that I haven't seen in the stream before. So little tip for you guys. But yeah, I think Kenzie Strike, you guys should maybe think of something.
Ooh, that's a hard one. Okay, so someone that watched the previous stream. So then
Leaf had a good one. If you check the group chat he wrote, Strike.
Oh, I can't. I'm literally screen sharing Discord.
I don't want to see it because I don't want to ruin it, but you can read it if you want to use that. That's all.
Give me a second. Sean's typing.
Oh, that's a good one.
It means it's good stuff if Sean's typing.
Oh, that's
a
really
good one. That's a very good one.
Right?
Okay, so here we go. So this will be for the giveaway, right?
This is
wait. We should make a rule. Is it like first correct answer gets it?
First correct answer, only one message per person. Yes.
One message per person. First correct one will get it.
All right, there you go.
Good luck.
Okay, here we go, guys. What was the name of our Discord server before it changed to NFT Gaming?
This feels like one of those game shows, those TV game shows.
I think Grace is gonna get it first if he's here.
Fast fingers wins, baby. Fast fingers win.
Before the Discord server was the NFT Gaming Discord, what was it called? The original name.
Fire Blondes.
That is Crypto
Come
Pony.
on down.
That is Crypto Poro Pony, who just rebranded and just changed his name today. Actually,
let's go, Fire Blonde.
All right, Fire Blonde.
Congrats.
Yeah, DM me on Discord, and I'll get that clan text sent to you as soon as Itai wakes up. I think he might be sleeping right now. Okay, cool. Let's give away another one right now because we've been live. We went for an hour and a half. We can give another one away right now. Let's do something.
Should we do another question, something like that?
Yeah.
Let's pick a number, shall we? Like, we write a number in the group from, I don't know, 1 to 50, and the first person to get the number gets the tag.
Yeah, this time we won't do like my favorite number because some people were annoyed. They're like, I don't know who the hell you are. Like, how am I gonna know your favorite number? Let's do 1 to 100. It'll be more fun since we have almost 100 people here. Don't guess yet.
Wait,
chill.
No one guessed yet.
Don't guess. Hold on.
Chill.
Wait, how will they know for sure that like it's our number?
We're right down. What incentive do we have to?
No, write it down on a piece of paper. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. No, that's Kenzie, no.
Okay, wait. Let me.
There, I think this is a random number. Okay.
Okay.
I'm cool with that.
Cool.
All right, guys. Everything after my message is go. There you go. Okay, start your
any number from 1 to 100.
Any number from 1 to 100.
Can they do it multiple times?
Yeah, I was gonna say let's say a couple of guesses each, maybe 2.
How do we filter through that?
Oh dear God, we didn't think this through.
Whoever gets it, I don't care.
I'm scrolling.
It's our own fault for not doing this properly. Holy shit.
Whoever gets it. First one to get it.
Someone's got it close. Someone's got it really close.
Oh, he's off by 2.
Yeah, this is so good for analytits. Let's be real. So many
I know,
oh
right?
my God.
This was my thought process, right?
The chat has control of the stream right now.
I should have said tweet it or something.
I can't.
Oh no, this
Who
is.
put 1,718?
Oh my God, how has no one got it yet?
Hey, wait. Actually, let me try something.
Can you command F to see if someone typed it? I'm scrolling. I don't see it.
I'm doing a slow mode. Slow mode. Oh, no.
Yeah, thank you. Slow mode or
They're
something.
hiding secret
I'm, like, trying to
messages
keep
inside
up.
the numbers.
Oh, someone was so close.
Someone's been
Someone
close.
just posted the lost numbers. 4,
Someone was
8, 15,
so close.
16,
Oh my god,
23,
people keep
42.
getting so close.
Okay, Means, are you okay?
Okay, should we give them a hint to get it
No,
closer?
no. This is fun.
Because this could technically go forever. Nobody knows what the other
I'll-
person's guessed.
I'm watching right now.
Let me increase the slow mode.
I
so we
picked a
can
good
try-
number, eh?
Ooh,
You
that
picked
one came close.
I don't know how no one's got it.
All
They're
right.
just
there's
off
only-
by like 3 or 4.
Guys, there's only
Hi.
been
How
a
is this
few that
possible?
haven't
We have
been
100
said.
people in your guess.
Yeah, but 100 people guessing at 100 potential answers each.
True.
And
Higher,
people
lower,
guessing the same
lower,
number multiple times over and over.
Higher,
Tough.
lower, higher, higher, lower.
It's not helping, Kenzie.
Feds, you're not winning
Uh,
shit. Stop your guessing.
You guys are getting warm. I will say that. You were getting warm.
I
Oh
think
my
we break
God.
it down to like whether it's top 50 or bottom 50.
Oh my god, it's so close so many
Someone's
times. So many times.
Oh, no.
Why
Why
is
does
there an
somebody say-
aversion to this number?
Somebody's one away.
There's like a brain.
Someone's
there's-
like, I've seen one away 2
I've
times.
seen one away. Yeah, me too.
Dude, people
Shrek.
have like a brain fart to this number. It's like it doesn't exist in people's
no,
brains. I've seen every. I swear to God, I've seen every
I've
number.
scrolled too. Come
Yo,
on, guys.
Grace,
You
just
guys
guess
are
a
close.
random number between 1 and 100.
We all have a number written down in our Discord.
away.
Oh, one away, bro.
Oh, I see it. I
Boom,
see
we have a
it.
winner. We have a winner.
Ooh.
Chappie.
Wait.
Chappie FTW.
Chappie.
Finally.
Wait, everyone stop.
Snappy. Snappy with a CH. Okay, I'll write it down.
Chap
We
need.
have a
Okay,
winner.
we have a winner. We have a winner. We have a
FTW.
winner. Holy
Yes.
shit! I don't think anyone
Snappy.
else guessed it. Yo, guys, it's done. It's done.
82, guys. 82 was the number.
82 was
Snappy
the
got
number.
it.
Can you show it, Aaron, on stream?
Yeah. Wait, show what?
The paper. You wrote it down, didn't you?
Yeah, didn't you
Oh.
write it down?
I wrote in the Discord.
Oh,
526. 82.
82. Let's go.
Yeah, I guess you could show our old messages. Yeah, that works. Yeah.
Yeah, that works.
Congrats.
Congratulations.
Dude, that was insane. The chat got
That was
nuts there
insane.
for a couple of minutes.
That was kind of nuts, guys. I really
That was
like
good.
that.
That
I've
was
been a
good.
part of streams that have done that, but I've never been on this side of that. So that was cool. Guys, make sure you DM me on Discord or else I'll forget. All right, let's go back.
Everybody's gonna DM you now. Just Snappy.
Right?
Snappy and Fire Blonde.
Snappy, Fire Blonde. Yeah.
I want to ask a question to get some more of your guys' opinions. When you hear the words mini bosses and final bosses, what does that mean to you? Because the first thing that popped in my head was like, you're doing a dungeon, right? And the mini boss would be like if a warden appeared in the middle of the map, like halfway, 50% of the way through the dungeon, right? And then final boss would be some kind of new enemy at the very end that guards the gate. That's what popped in my mind. It doesn't have to be that, but what was the first thing that popped into your minds?
First thing that popped into my mind. Do you guys all know? And I can't get my hand on this image now, but I hope you guys understand that one image where we see. I think that lady cartoon outfit with a god slayer in her head. I think finding a dragon and
Yes,
there's like
that was like a month ago,
Yes,
right?
the loading screen or something.
Near the Easter
right?
event, there was something. There was an image. Yeah.
What
This
about it?
image.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the first thing I thought about when he said bosses. There's a big ass dragon at the exit.
Yeah, I think
Definitely.
it'll be a special encounter. I don't think we're gonna see the bosses like in a dungeon. I don't think it's gonna be randomly appearing, and I don't think it'll be in a standard dungeon. I think it's gonna be like maybe you need a key of some sort, maybe a warden's key of some sort.
Ooh.
I don't think it's gonna be like, oh, you can just go in and fight the boss. I think there's gonna be like requirements.
I think you maybe could, like, for the larger bosses, I think maybe like the final, so he says mini and final bosses, like maybe these final bosses is something that you could like go in and specifically fight, whereas maybe the mini bosses are randomly spawned throughout harder maps. I don't know.
I just thought of something.
Mhm.
Maybe some of the hard maps or some of the maps that qualify for a boss map, maybe you have to 100% the dungeon, and then at the end you have the chance to fight the boss or something. Who knows?
I don't know. We'll see how he implements it.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just,
Yeah. I think it would be very cliffy to make it like appear, to make it random. I think if you give the option, it's I don't know. I think I like the idea of Cliff basically saying like survive. Like there's there's a lot.
Yeah.
You get into the unknown, you get into the mystery. Well, maybe a boss will show up. Well, either you fight him and you win, or you die. And I don't think it will be an option kind of thing. I don't see
All
that.
I know is do not take your expensive virtual items into a very first encounter. Okay, guys? I'm just throwing that warning out now.
Every
This is
new
coming
update,
from the guy
bring your
that
scroll.
stopped. This is coming from the guy that stepped on the lava for the first time when Mount Olketh came out.
Oh god.
Yeah,
That was insta death, by the way, back then.
Amanda is convinced. My wife is convinced there is a. We all meme and talk about the chest in the lava. Amanda thinks it's there. She's convinced.
Oh.
I think she's full of shit, and I don't think there's any chest in the lava. But she really wants me to continue experimenting, but I think it's just going to get me burned.
Never know. He does have the stairs leading down to the lava, and I feel like the level of that lava is like going lower. I don't know if it's just me not running those dungeons too much, but the stairs were randomly added in an update a little bit ago. Or
Yeah.
what if he adds something else in the next update? We'll see.
Yeah, no, the possibilities for this update is just, man, I remember we did a 2-hour video on the Easter update, and we were talking about like 4 items. This is like, for context, for people who didn't watch, I think it was me, Striker, Drift, and Yusuf. And we made a 2-hour stream on the patch, after the patch came out, on maybe 1/15 of this content. We just have so much, like, I'm trying to think of what we can talk about just because there's so much, and like what we can hone in on. And I want to talk about something that we've been, I don't know if we've been intentionally avoiding, but maybe forgot about a little bit. We touched upon it, but forging.
Yeah. I think maybe that's because the word forging wasn't, or skills weren't specifically used in Cliff's previous post. Maybe that's the reason why we haven't brought it up yet. But that is still probably the most likely prediction that's correct, or no?
I think so.
Is it coming now, though, is the question.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, here's my thought. If there's new monsters coming now and we're not given a chance to make new weapons or a way to have new weapons to fight these monsters, I feel like Cliff always has fixes or some sort of like, he'll implement something and then he'll do something else to cover up for it. So like he'll release new monsters, but maybe now we'll have forging to create these weapons to have a better chance at fighting these monsters. Or if it's not that, maybe again these new blockchain items we've seen will start dropping more commonly, so we can use that to help fight.
I just thought of something, and I think this is not a unique idea. This is related to what you're saying. This is not a unique idea. I think someone brought this up in my stream maybe a couple weeks ago. Maybe it was Denos, actually. I don't remember. But so we have bounty items, right? We have items like the new Transcendent items. We have the Red Menace, all those items, that really cool item that that Hood got, and a bunch of mid-tier to low-tier bounty items. And the drop rate seems insanely low. And what if bounties were kind of expanded on, and it wasn't just these quests we have? What if it was also like these drops have a chance from dropping from these new bosses, and it's like the boss table is going to be shared with the bounty table, and that's why the drop table is so low from these chests, because it's going to be in conjunction with that. Because you can kind of look at it like bosses are kind of like bounties, right?
I can see the comparison you're making.
Because then he doesn't have to make new items, and it fits along pretty well, right? Like, could you, like, I'm trying to think about it.
I mean, I could see, because he's talked about different differences between bounties, quote unquote, and quests, quote unquote.
Mm-hmm.
He's made that distinction before. He's made that comment about like when you return back from an adventure and you're walking back to the tavern, like maybe someone just appears and gives you a quest to accomplish.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, that's the thing. There used to be quests, right? This is something that used to exist in the game.
No, No,
No?
I think when he previously described it was about upcoming features that he could add.
Oh, I mean, like,
But you'd have to ask him.
I mean, Kenzie looks like he's having a really good discussion right now, but just to make him feel like shit. But were there not quests in the game at some point?
I
literally
don't think
asking-
so.
I don't think
no.
Kenzie realized I'm asking him.
Sorry, can you repeat that?
Were there were quests at some point in this game, right? Or am I wrong?
Yeah. Yes, there were quests
Aha.
in the earlier days.
I
What
think
did it look like?
Forgotten Artifacts days, right?
Yeah, exactly. They were basically bounties where
Oh,
you turned in low rarity items in exchange for higher rarity items.
Yeah.
So
That's
this
how
is,
I got my first blue conquest, the axe.
So
my
this
first
is
blue
a
weapon.
this is a really good example of something we can talk about too. So how the items and this will go into a conversation about the new items as well. So how it used to work, from what I understand, is let's say you wanted the blood extinction, the blue bow with the really cool effect that dropped a couple months ago. What you would do is you would give in a certain amount of the blood eclipses, which are the weaker blue bows, and you would get a blood extinction. So the thing is, when I started playing the game, blood extinctions were dropping like hotcakes. I got 13 of them. Jared got a bunch of them. A lot of people got them, but they were
you guys
in the
cleaned up.
Yeah, we cleaned up. I played Forgotten Chambers for 15 hours a day for a week. Okay, I'm like, the best chance I get at getting these fucking items, I stay in Forgotten Chambers and I grind. I'm like, I'm not learning Ash. I'm not doing anything. I'm getting as many blockchain items as I can. So I did Chambers a bunch and I did Pits a bunch. So I got 13 of those bows and whatever. But the thing is, they've been in the game for 2 years. So the thing is, Cliff has the ability to change the drop rates and enable these drops whenever he wants. And they don't necessarily have to be in the pool for that. Or they don't necessarily have to be in the pool. He just has to enable them, right? And,
I think he can respond to them himself if he wants to.
oh, shit.
Hey guys.
What's
Hey,
going on, Cliff?
Oh, that's a nice surprise. I knew
Kenzie organized a quick secret appearance.
that.
Thank you
I
for
like
joining,
that.
Cliff. Good to have you.
Good morning. Good morning.
So how
Yeah,
much of what we've
literally
been
is. I just
saying
woke
is
up.
crazy?
I don't know. I don't know what you guys have been saying. I was asleep.
We were just talking about the recent conversation we were talking about, just how you have the ability to have stuff minted. What Striker? What could you? What are you making that?
To
face
be
for?
honest, Cliff coming in the podcast kind of caught me off guard
Me
too.
too.
So
Right?
I don't remember the last thing we just said was.
We were basically
Um,
talking about like the update and just like the game and the updates to come, sort of speculating certain things, bosses, mini bosses, kind of just discussing, what's potentially to come. Maybe now that you're here, you could steer us in the
Yeah,
right direction as much as you could, or
Yeah, I've actually a specific question. If you're comfortable asking Cliff about something like Odinspire Sands. Is your goal with changing the monsters on the map to give it more of a feel of its own, as well as to make it more difficult, to make it feel more like a 4-star map, or are you just focusing on the feel with like the new update to that map?
So with Odenspire in particular, it's I mean, I guess it's kind of like making it have its own feel, because right now the monsters that are in there are pretty much from all the dungeon levels. All the monsters that are in the game at the moment are pretty much just first pass that I added in to add some variety. If you played in the very, very first build, I think you'll recognize some of the early monsters. And then I added a second wave, I guess. I don't even remember when it was, probably several months ago. Probably closer to 6 to 8 months. I don't even know. So, yeah, pretty much it's kind of to give its own identity almost, or its own area. I kind of don't want all the monsters everywhere. Like you shouldn't visit this new area and just have all the same monsters. It doesn't sort of make any sense. Doesn't feel that good. So yeah, just kind of make it a little bit more unique.
If you don't mind me asking, is the when you add new monsters into Odinspire Sands, is the map going to become more difficult as a consequence? Is it going to live up to the 4-level difficulty that it's supposed to have?
Yeah, it's kind of, I've had to reuse the monsters in there to kind of replicate some of the difficulty, but obviously that a lot of those monsters are close combat monsters anyway, and some of them don't really fit. So yes, I mean this update is going to have a lot more than I think some of you realize in terms of the combat and monsters. It's going to change a lot of the fight dynamics. It's not necessarily going to be just one hit kill every monster. You're going to have to use a little bit more, I don't know, a little bit more maybe strategy. Yeah, I could say that. I don't want to give away too much. I mean, I kind of want, I wanted to see a lot of deaths in Overseer, really.
Oh yeah, I'm
I love that response.
I'm expecting some higher tier monsters to get buffs. I was thinking maybe Nether Demons, because as of right now, I mean, you could pretty much two smack them, right? If you have the right equipment. Yeah.
So I will say one thing: the Nether Demons, as you see them now, will be the last time you see them like that.
Ooh.
Oh, okay.
Well,
that kind
really-
of goes back to the beginning of the podcast. Okay.
Yeah, really sad I sold my art cores. I'm going to tell you that. Yeah, no, that's that. We were talking about that earlier. It's just like, I mean, mount is definitely difficult if you don't have the right equipment, but if you do have the right equipment, like you just breeze through it, unless you're Kenzie. And
Dude.
I'm just kidding.
You know, Cliff, I have to ask, just because it's such an important topic right now. You know, maybe even if it's pulled away from Lost Relics a little bit, but what are your thoughts on yesterday, on the big crypto crash that we saw, and I guess trying to tie it back to Lost Relics, like, you know, as the main developer, you know, as the head of the studio and whatnot, like, how do you theory craft like some of those impacts on what it could mean for the game in the future?
I don't know. It's pretty complex.
Yeah.
I don't fully understand why everything has gone down the way it has. You know, there seems to be a number of events that the media are talking about and speculating, and sort of saying that that's culminating in the entire thing. But you know, the fundamental technology behind blockchain and everything hasn't changed. It's not like anyone revealed, oh my God, something here is no longer secure or whatever, and therefore everyone's just getting rid of it. It's nothing like that. I mean, the only thing that might be kind of similar would be maybe something to do with Tether, where they were potentially issuing more than they actually had and not revealing that sort of stuff. Maybe it's to do with that. I don't know. As far as I can see, it's difficult to pull any one individual thing. As to how it impacts the game, obviously it affects the value of any blockchain wallets and that kind of thing. It kind of almost makes me realize that instead of holding any assets like I used to be, so, you know, back in the early days, I had some ETH and I had some engine, but I needed to use them to make items and to send items out.
Right.
So I didn't, like a lot of people suggest, as a business, you would take in crypto and then you would basically immediately settle it into a different currency. So, for example, your local currency, as a way to kind of, you know, take money in and also make accounting easier. Because, as you would know, kind of if you have a fluctuating currency that you're having to pay tax on, it's kind of crazy to calculate. And based on the first in, first out stuff, you have to kind of remember the values from each of the days and that kind of thing. So it kind of makes it easier if you do that. I wasn't doing that because basically I had to use the engine and Ethereum tokens that I was getting in to create items and to send them out. So I just kind of kept that the whole time. So now I'm kind of thinking, oh, maybe I need to switch to doing more of a model where I actually settle it in a target currency, or at least some of it, so that I can take out any money from that while the markets are still high, or as they're going up or going down or whatever. Like, it doesn't matter. It just means I'm taking profits the whole time. Because yeah, for me, obviously my portfolio's, you know, been wrecked like everyone else's. And that the only thing that kind of helps for me at the moment is that I also take fiat currency.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously that's been stopped recently too. So I have no fiat income. Working on a solution for that, but that won't be happening for a little while. So
Fair enough. I think you said it beautifully.
No,
Yeah.
Honestly, like the fundamentals, like that's the same thing that I was thinking about yesterday. Like going back to fundamentals, it's going to be hard to figure out the reason why it happened, or whether or not it'll continue. But, you know, did Ethereum break yesterday, or did Engine break yesterday? Like, no, not really. Like yes, the market did go down, but fundamentals everything still seems to be working. You know, the only thing that changed was the price.
Yeah, it's just the fear. I did see a comment by someone on Twitter saying something like, It's hilarious that you all call yourselves decentralized, and yet you all just look at one influencer and make reactions based on that, because that was in reference to people reacting to what Elon Musk said, which is kind of true, that everyone's saying that it's a good decentralized thing, and then they all listen to just one person and make their decisions based on that. I don't think it was truly, I don't think it was singularly based on that, but obviously that had some impact on a lot of people and how they reacted.
Fair enough.
I have.
Sorry to pull you guys off of Lost Relics. I just had to ask that question.
For sure. Jared, you want to ask, because you weren't on the last one with Cliff, so you didn't get to ask any questions. Do you have any questions?
Kind of starstruck right now, trying to think of a good question. To be honest with you, I'm trying to been trying to gather something good.
Every question's a good question.
Yeah, if you want, you go ahead. I'm still brainstorming. I want to make sure it's a good one.
Is it safe to assume that we might be seeing some of the new items you minted in the upcoming patch?
Which ones are you referring to?
Legendary ones, is that?
There's a bunch. There's in every tier. There's that one, like all the ones with the new effects and stuff. The one that caused decay, the attack speed items.
Oh yeah, the ones on the website at the moment.
Yeah.
I usually keep those hidden. Because I like to have surprise everyone, but there's a lot of people who keep saying things like, oh, it's a scam project, or oh, there's no items and there's nothing to aim for, and all that kind of thing, which isn't true. If you're still playing, you still have the same chances of getting items, like the high tier items. You just don't get a lot of the lower stuff. If your primary goal is to just obtain a single blockchain item, then obviously that's more difficult at the moment. But you can still get all the high tier items. In fact, you might have enough luck to actually get a mythical. So like none of that's changed. I put them back on just to kind of let people know that they're coming. I probably need a way to almost portray and say these are not available yet, but they're coming in the next update. Maybe a way, something similar to that. But at the same time, it's kind of cool just adding things and seeing how long people take to react or to find them. Sometimes I'm really surprised at how quickly people see updates. I'm sure someone's probably got something monitoring the website to see for changes or something like that, so they get a notification as soon as it happens. But it's still, it's still fun to do that.
I'm gonna be honest. I think it's strictly a bunch of us are just straight degens that are on the game and on the website 24/7 and just see it as it comes up. Because I know we were in Discord one night, and I think it was Yusuf or something. It's like, guys, there's items on the website. The bounty items are now on the website. Like, I just remember we all looked at it, and yeah, we did talk about that for actually a pretty big portion of our discussion today about like this being truly play to earn. And like, I mean, if this was a scam game where you couldn't play to earn, like you'd be selling the items on your website for $1,000 a piece. But that's not the case. Like, you drop the items in the game, you don't take advantage of a secondary market of any kind.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that I think don't have access right now and are criticizing it as well for memberships being closed, saying that I'm giving early people like access to be able to make lots of money or something like that. I'm like, the game's been open for 2 years. Like that's a pretty long lead time. Just because you happen to come late doesn't mean you can complain and whine and carry on about it. Things close sometimes. I think it's only been closed for like a couple of weeks. People are sort of making it out like it's been years or something that they're still waiting for it.
I said this before, and when something like this happens, I'm talking from my own perspective, is the floodgates seem to open afterwards, because when I see closed beta or I see closed alpha, my first thought is, where do I buy a beta key? Where do I buy an alpha key? And everyone's like, I see the Telegram every day. I'm like, when are the signups going to be? And then your auto message comes and it's like, the signups will be available during the next patch or whatever, and everyone's like, yay, and like everyone's really happy. And I get that, because it's like the FOMO, right? We're in crypto, everyone FOMOs into stuff, and it's like, this is the ultimate FOMO. This is like, for me, the engine game. And then someone comes and they're like, oh, this looks cool, someone's streaming it, and they go like, oh man, I can't sign up. And then I'm sure they're checking every day for that update. So I think it's a good thing, and I think creating hype, at least for me personally, is not necessarily bad, because it gets people into the project before they can really get into the project. And I think that's a really, really cool thing.
Yeah, I mean, it is definitely good, but I think also, I don't know, people seem to focus on whatever the current moment thing is. So even if people could create accounts right now, the next thing you'd be hearing about, which is what they were doing before, is complaining that there's no items. which, as
For
I said,
sure.
isn't true.
Mm.
But it's just it seems to be like when they finish or when I fix one thing, and they'll just move on to the next thing. So it kind of doesn't matter what I do.
Yeah, you're never going to be
It's
able
always
to satisfy it 100%.
Yeah, it's just the world of instant gratification, I think. Just like they
Yeah.
want to see things immediately and they want to see immediate progress. But
yeah, that's right.
and
I was actually going to touch on one question. I don't know how in depth you can go without giving any spoilers, but the one thing that stood out to me about your recent announcement was the mini bosses and the final bosses. You know, just being able to fight something different, whether it gives different loot, more EXP. But is there going to be a like a higher drop rate for these bosses? Like, right?
It's not finalized yet on a number of the dynamics like that. So
Right.
basically, the goal with this is to kind of increase some more of the content. I've held off from doing that for a long time because I've just been working on so many other things. And the problem with scaling up content too early is if there's a fundamental issue that you find later on, or the direction changes due to other circumstances. Like, for example, if I completely changed how the combat system works, you'd need to go back and like redo all the content that you've done. In a finished game, you have this process where you go through and you decide on the dynamics and such, how you're going to do. The designers end up creating it in a document. You try and reproduce it, and you'll generally be playing it early on to see. And if it doesn't feel fun, you have to keep working on it. You're trying to get it to a base level where it feels fun, and as long as that is the case, you can keep building on it. I kind of had that early on where it is fun, but obviously there needs to be a bit more depth later on. I haven't added any of the depth or anything yet, but with the monsters, with the way they behave and the AI and how that works, I'm not finished with how I want to have them moving around and doing such. So I've kind of decided just to do it now because I'm pretty happy with where the base is for the AI, but I will be updating things in the future. But because I also need to add more, like there's some items that I haven't dropped yet ever. They've just been sitting in the pool. Yeah, because there's no areas for them. Like there's the frosted wood and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I could just randomly drop them in the dungeon, but it doesn't. I don't know.
Makes
It doesn't
sense.
make any sense.
Yeah, like
Well,
having a
that's what I was
crab in the
wondering
cave,
too,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Ice chunks coming next update.
Yeah. It just depends really on what I'm able to get done. Like everyone's like, when's the update? When's the update? When's the update? And I'm like, well, the more time you give me, the more things I can pack into it. If any of you have been around for any of the previous updates, generally the longer I work on something, the bigger the update is. It's not that I don't know, hold off. People seem to think that I just hold off the update just to make them angry or something. I don't understand that
I
kind of
heard
thought.
you were
I'm
in
just like,
Hawaii on vacation.
man,
yeah.
let this guy have 2 days off with his family, for God's sake.
Yeah, so it's basically it's going to be a lot of changes in basically monsters and stuff, and
That's great.
there's at least one new adventure, which you've already seen in the screenshot. If you saw that, if you didn't, you probably better go and scroll back through and see if you can find it.
Yeah, we saw it. We showed it.
Yeah, so it kind of just depends. I've just decided now would be a good time to scale out some of that content because, there's a lot of people coming in and sort of saying, well, where is the rest of the game and that kind of stuff. And I'm just decided that now's, I guess, the good time to do it.
I have a question actually regarding, you mentioned gameplay mechanics, fighting mechanics, and core changes to that. Are we looking at like character changes for how the mechanics will work for the player or the monster? And if it's the player, are you more focused on changing like the movement options that we have, or literally like left click, right click, and like skills and stuff like that?
I mean, I think I've heard some people discussing or trying to figure out what some of that stuff might mean or where it might go. Coming up with ideas for movement changes and stuff. Like I think I've seen like a roll or a dodge or something discussed. That is definitely something that I was planning on adding, but probably won't make it into this update. So really what I'm talking about is just kind of how it plays. Like you were touching on it before where you said about the nether demons, that it takes 2 hits to kill them. They're meant to be tougher than that. A lot of them were just first pass implementation. So just kind of getting them in there, getting you used to them. In the very early days, when I used to launch new monsters, it was a massive big deal because a lot of the players were not traditional gamers. A lot of them were just investors. And so I introduced a new monster which had a new mechanic, such as, I don't know, maybe it dodged out of the way, or maybe it had more health. And so rather than face tanking it, you'd have to attack it from distance or something. That used to really derail people. So I had to be really careful with what I did, and I had to kind of make smaller changes to the monsters and not make it such a large change. So I don't know. I feel like I can do a bit more now. So some of the monsters were tamed down quite a lot in the early time. In saying that, like, I'm not trying to make it impossible or anything. And if if this next update makes some of them too difficult, I will be balancing them down. It's kind of difficult to scale my skill level in the game for everyone in the entire game. So it'll be a kind of a bit of a change, you know. So like if the next update comes out, suddenly it's impossible and you can't do anything. It doesn't mean you should rage quit and sell all your items or anything like that. Like just hang in there and either try and practice or get some tips from other people, because there will be certain ways to handle monsters that you may not be doing right now. Those of you who got to play against Ogandor will understand what I mean by some of that.
Shucks, missed it.
Yeah, and guys, this is a tip from Striker himself. Every time there's a patch, bring a teleport scroll with you, because Cliff changes stuff, and it might not be in the patch. So bring a teleport scroll and some health potions, so you don't die and lose all your stuff. And then you're messaging Cliff being like, "God, I didn't know about the update," and then and then Cliff's getting all the messages.
That's definitely what I'd recommend too, especially when there's new changes made. The other thing will be that you will need to rely on health a little bit more for these updates. So, a lot of people just go in, they have a completely empty inventory, and they just take in their powerful items and they kind of just slay through and they're done real quick. It's not really the goal. Like, I know everyone's been doing speed runs. It's never been the goal of mine to allow for speed runs through this stuff. I want to be able to pace the content drops appropriately. So I don't really want people to complete it in 2 minutes or 3 minutes or whatever, because it also increases the load on the server. Both generating the maps and ending the maps and that kind of thing. There's a lot of events that are involved, a lot of database work. So when everyone's just smashing them like that, it ends up causing quite a lot of
server load.
Yeah. So basically, I'm trying to extend them a little bit. In typical games, you'll go in and play an instance and spend quite a while into it. I think some games, you can sometimes spend 30 to 40 minutes, just battling through. So I haven't decided yet where the optimal point of that will be. I need to kind of run a few and then check the performance and see how everyone's going with playing it. But that also doesn't mean that the amount of loot you get now in a quick 2-minute run won't be scaled out for that either. Like it will be scaled out so that it'll still matter. Like it shouldn't matter how fast you're going through, like it does now as much.
That's good, because I think that also gives utility to a lot of items, and I've talked about this on my stream a lot, and I think we've talked about it a little bit as well on podcasts, is that like items like the ruby egg and the golden egg don't get as much love as items like the harvester and even the incubator and like the Archer's ring and stuff, because like the meta is speedrun, right? But if you make these maps harder and it's like you're gonna have to take your time, then those items that maybe you got 50% use out of before, now you might be getting 100% use out of it, and it's more valuable than the stuff that heals you a little bit less.
Yeah, a lot of those items had more use probably about a year ago. If you'd ever played Shattering Chambers or some of the earlier difficulty levels,
I've seen that.
yeah, you definitely use those, and in particular the original feature of the dungeons where you used to get to the end and make a decision whether you go back up again or go deeper. All that kind of stuff used it more. So in trying to change a few systems, I've obviously cut corners and made things shorter in some regards, made it a little bit easier here and there. But that's going to be getting ramped up again.
I'm sure we'll be seeing more. I'm sure we'll be seeing more people train alchemy literally now, and I mean taking advantage of those health potions that put you to sleep a little bit and give you some health regeneration, especially if you need to take your time with these dungeons. That's for sure.
Definitely. Yeah. Everyone sort of rushing through the entire time was never really the intent. When I very, very first came up with the idea, you were supposed to be able to kind of hunt or look around for secret items within the rooms. So maybe you kill all the monsters and then you have a bit of downtime where you're kind of ruffling through some of the wreckage and other things that are around looking for stuff. The early feedback that I had on that kind of gameplay was that it was too boring and that they just wanted to find the items. So they kind of wrecked that whole feature set, I guess. But, maybe now it's time to bring some of that stuff in because you're going to be hit with a lot more in this next update.
No more reading chat for us, I guess.
I'm already excited.
No more chat for us.
I think it's definitely interesting if you even, I don't know how possible that is, but to implement kind of both things, right? So one way to kind of please both crowds, right? One way people who want to speed run things, and the other way people who want to kind of discover things and play the puzzle games, right? You can always kind of have a balance of both, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. There's at the moment there's the adventures as you see them. The other part of it is Arena will be coming, which I need to finish working on. But I just, there's been so many things recently that have impacted my ability to work on gameplay. Everyone's screaming out for fix Ethereum, fix transfers, fix gas fees, all this stuff. And I'm just
solve the crypto world's problems.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm having to pause what I'm doing on the game side, which is why there hasn't been many game related updates. It's all been systems level stuff to work on that stuff. So it's kind of difficult. And I know, I should have a team or something by this stage, but look right now, my income isn't stable right now. I have 0 fiat income. The crypto is down and stuff. So it's kind of, it's not stable.
Yeah, I completely understand where you're coming from. And it makes sense that you plan out for the future, right? I mean, you've said it yourself, especially when it comes, you're taking an extra responsibility when you're bringing other people on board, especially as the owner, right? So, that's a lot more pressure and a lot more stress to make it through. So I get it completely.
Right. Yeah, there's a lot of rules and things like that go with running a business, especially when you have other staff. It also changes the dynamics of the company structure and that kind of thing. You need to start paying insurance for them and all that kind of thing, which I've discussed that stuff before. A lot of people don't understand it. They're just saying, yep, just hire someone, but we'll get there.
Yeah.
Just now is not the right time.
I have one more question, then I'll let everyone else talk because I've been asking a lot of questions. It's a very, very niche specific question. Is the item like a photonic incubator, a leak, or like a sneak peek at what you want for multiplayer? Because from what I see when I see the photonic incubators, I see a utility item that I could step on and that my teammates could step on if they need health. Is that the case, or is it just you just thought it'd be cool for it to drop an egg?
No, you got it.
Okay. All right, that's all I wanted.
I got a general question. When we're looking at the map, or I know there might be some things that changes with the map coming up in the future, but what do you think about when you decide to make a certain level members based or not? What do you theory crafter? What are some of the ideas on reasons why you feel like Odinspire Sands should be a members dungeon versus Ashwoods?
I guess some of it is I'm still kind of figuring that out because the less features that I have, the less I have to work with. So as I add new things in the future, I can then move things around a little bit. Everything you see now isn't necessarily set in stone. As in, there'll be new stuff added later on. There'll be new benefits and that kind of thing. Or maybe I'll open up like I did with the other with was it Caverns? I can't remember the name. Like if I might open up one of the dungeons that are for members now for free players instead.
I see.
Really, it's really just kind of as I add more content, I have more things to do. I can kind of open up things a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, for me, it's good for people to be members because it means that I'm getting some form of income. If everyone's playing for free and no one does any of that stuff, and then they're not interested, and there's no reason for them to upgrade to a membership, then I can't pay for anything. So as long as there's sort of an income coming there, I'm still trying several different income streams, and changing things around. But yeah, until I'm happy with where it all is, and until all the content's in there, I can't really say that it's final or anything. So it will be changing. In saying that, I always try and do the best for everyone. Trying to make sure that it always has good value and that kind of thing. And in some cases, it's just like a nice perk or something nice to have that doesn't necessarily impact anything else. Like you don't have to pay in order to gain something from it, benefit or anything like that. Obviously, at the moment, some of the adventures are kind of the content that's behind them is kind of locked behind that membership. But if you're at that level, then maybe it would be a good idea to support me going forward,
100%.
I actually. Oh, you want to go ahead?
Go ahead,
Jesse?
go ahead, Jay. Go ahead.
I just had a quick question on bounties. Just because that's the main way that people can find blockchain items nowadays, at least ones that are fully taken up or that have zero left. Obviously, the way someone would get it is they hand in a bounty, and if you're lucky and searching in an adventure at a similar time, you may find it. Are you ever planning on maybe adding more bounties or making certain items interchangeable, if that's the right word? So like if you need Elden Oak, you can use Nightwood instead, or you can use Moss Oak instead. Like, do you ever plan on adding more varieties so more people can hand in more items to continue that sort of flow?
I probably wouldn't do the variety swap things, but there's definitely more things coming. Like people I've seen come in and have said things like the loot pool's empty, this game is dead, there's nothing left. As though this is the end game. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
We're just getting started. Like there's still more items to add. Like you haven't missed out on anything. And someone who comes 1 year from now is going to have the same feelings that there was nothing available. It's like, well, yeah, you got in later. There's limited items, so obviously you can't get the very early items. You missed out. You'll just have to get the items that are coming out at the moment or coming out now.
Yeah, I think it's strictly a reiteration of what we literally talked about this today. I think even early on my stream, it's just like, don't worry about whether or not you were the earliest person. Remember that you're still early and we're still in early access, and the stuff you're getting now, people 2 months from, not even a year from now, 2 months are going to be wishing they played at the time, and it's always going to be like that. So just enjoy the game and enjoy that you're early.
Yeah, I mean, there's also people asking about what does the future hold, in terms of you just have to keep creating new items. It's like, well, yeah, I mean, so think about things like Magic the Gathering. They're constantly releasing new cards. It doesn't mean like it's the same thing, literally the same thing. Just keep creating new items, coming up with new ideas, new mixtures, new combos, and that kind of thing. That's it. I mean, they've got the similar kind of model that they're working on as well.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
I was going to say,
I'm sorry, I cut you off.
You talk a lot about not having time to work on like the actual game. I'm also working on the servers and the back end and finances and everything else. Can you give an example of something that you're really excited to implement, either like this update or 6 months from now or a year from now, that you just didn't have the time to work on? Can you give us, like, without going into too much detail, like an idea of something game changing that you want to add to the game that you haven't had the time to add yet? Or no comment? I don't know.
Well, I mean, arena, multiplayer, that kind of stuff. Like any of that stuff. It's all kind of been, I put it into the game because I was ready to do it in the next update. And then I can't remember what happened. I think that was right around the time when PayPal booted me off the platform.
Oh,
and then I'm just like, oh my God, now I have to scramble and find something else. And so, arena just keeps getting pushed back for me. the Warden's Key stuff keeps getting pushed back. I keep making incremental progress on that stuff, but I keep getting delayed. The thing that's delayed me now is the blockchain trading stuff. When I first jumped into this, like everyone's now saying, Cliff, why aren't you using a different blockchain? Like there's so many options out there. I'm like, yeah, but 2 years ago when I started, there wasn't. There was just Ethereum. The other projects were all just ideas and white papers. And even saying that, like some of the ideas now, people are jumping across to them, and then things happen, and then they have their own issues. So it's not just like clear cut, and it's also not a simple task. If I was to switch blockchains, for example, it's a lot of work. It's going to be like several months where I'm not working on the game again. So those are the kind of distractions that I'm talking about that stop me from the game features. And so I guess the most recent one is trading of items. Like I understand it's really frustrating, and it's totally killed the in-game market dynamics. Turning in bounty items. I was supposed to be able to get blockchain items back in, back when it used to be one gwei for gas, 1 to 3 gwei. Items were kind of circulating a bit, but there wasn't much use. Like the early quests would pull in items and they'd put them back into the circulation. And I proved that model, like it worked fine. The issue is that I'm relying on the blockchain, and that's causing people to just hold on to their items, which I'm glad they do. I would prefer people to just hold on to their items now and just hang on there and just wait. There's a lot of people who are very, I'm not sure, nervous, something like that, where they just freak out from one day to the next. I don't understand why. There doesn't seem to be any kind of negatives to holding on to items and just keep playing, but they just do. And so they want to take out all their items now and then sell them. And then they complain that they're paying all this stuff in gas. I'm like, well, yeah, I said hang in there and just wait. Just keep playing the game. Like if you don't enjoy it, then that's fine. Don't play it. Come back in a little while. Come back with the next update or something. You don't have to necessarily stick around. And that's fine if you want to come and go. But at the same time, stop focusing so much on the items and the gas prices and selling them, and just try and enjoy it a little bit. So I'm hoping now, like, I know it's been a bit up in the air with the blockchain trading, in-game trading, and that kind of stuff. But I've been making some progress over the last couple of days, and I sent that screenshot. In fact, I haven't even read the channel or anything to see what the reactions are. But I have the blockchain marketplace working in-game. All trades and everything working. You can instantly trade your blockchain items within the game with each other.
Yeah, we were speculating on that screenshot for, I'd say, about 20 minutes of the stream. It got me really excited. I woke up this morning at 6 a.m. Typical morning. Cat I was fostering gave birth and had kittens, and then got some messages to ask to middlemen some lost relics items. And while I was waiting to do that, I just look. I don't know. Someone messaged me and said check Telegram. I don't know if it was your boy or someone else, and I look and I just see that screenshot, and I got really excited.
Yeah, so the issue that I discussed in the news stuff that I was worried about, I did more research into, and I think I had some like misunderstandings about a few certain terms that a lot of documents and the old law documents and that kind of thing refer to. Like this space is really tough because it's unregulated right now. And it's also, there's some crossover with words and names and stuff that don't actually mean the same thing. And so there's a lot of people still trying to figure out what it all means. And obviously all the law and that kind of stuff needs to catch up with the digital age. And the problem is that a lot of, especially in my country, there's a lot of the politicians and things that look after that stuff just have no idea about how this works. They're used to just picking up dirt or picking up coal and saying, yes, I can hold this in my hands. That's what this is. They can talk about it and whatever. Any of this kind of virtual stuff is just way too hard. And so they just kind of make sweeping laws about that kind of stuff and kind of group it into the one basket. But, as most people know, there's so many products and so many things now in the blockchain space that you kind of can't just group them all as one. So yeah, anyway, I've cleared up all of that stuff. I'm pretty happy with where my understanding of it is now. And I'm just going to push ahead with it because it's crazy. It's crazy that a fundamental feature of the game, which is to trade your items, has been so wrecked
Yeah.
by gas fees and the networks and stuff like that. And I think this is probably the simpler answer for now. And if regulations and other things change in the future, then I'll obviously have to change and pivot again. But I think for the moment, this should keep us going for a while.
Nice. And is that, just for clarity, is that for items minted on JumpNet or for every items?
Everything.
Oof.
Wow.
I'm waiting for the pogs
big.
in the chat. I'm gonna see oh my gods in like 2 seconds when they catch up. But that's huge because I think that's something a lot of people were wondering, and it's awesome because it's like, I mean, we have that with in conjunction with people transferring out of games as well. So it's not like you're giving people one option of you have to trade on my Emporium. We keep calling it Cliff's Emporium, and we keep referring to the currency as Cliff Bucks. But it's the multiple options are there right now, which is nice. And like, I think it's really appreciated that you gave people the option in the meantime to be able to transfer out of game as well, because I mean, a lot of people have had like thousands of bench in game that they just want to transfer out, and now people have the option to do that, which is really good. So it's nice that it feels like you're covering all bases with this new Emporium.
Yeah, I mean, my original goal was to try and save people money and to not have them wasted on gas fees and
Yeah.
crazy amounts. But there was just so much negativity and pushback against that I'm just like, okay, if you want to spend your money on that stuff, then go ahead.
And then they come back at you and complain about having to spend $400, right?
Yeah.
It's people.
Well, yeah, I mean,
It's
I worry about it because everyone is paying, not everyone, but people are paying to get these items out so they can list them on the marketplace. And they'll say things, or they seem to have this strange expectation where they'll list it on the marketplace and it'll instantly sell. I mean, it's only going to sell if someone's got demand for it. And if you're willing to pay the gas for it, that's fine, but maybe someone else isn't. And so, yeah, I don't know. I know this stuff is coming. Like I know, and I've said many, many times that I'm trying to solve this internally in the game. Just keep your items there. You'll be able to sell them soon enough. Because otherwise, people have taken them out, and now they have to pay to send them back in again.
yeah.
I think, Cliff, I think it could be beneficial, or just in general, just to ask you a basic question about. We're obviously seeing the very first time with video games having real world economies because of crypto, right? And crypto has both its pros and its cons, that it adds on into this new eco space. Like, what are some of the core fundamentals of blockchain technology that you feel are I don't want to say mandatory to explore what blockchain gaming could be, but like, what are some of the core ideals that like resonate with you, that's important for you, and how you plan out the future of the game?
Look, that's a tough one to answer because it's kind of changed over time. When I first started, my opinion and basically ideas around it have changed a lot. Some of that is because of gas and other things and making it too expensive. Some of that is the features, such as me being able to send the item to you into your wallet, you holding it, and then being able to send it back or whatever. While that seemed almost like a positive or a boon at the time, it's almost at some point been a curse as well. In basically because I send an item to someone and then they're like, oh, I lost the keys in my wallet. Well, the item's gone. Having collapsing supplies means that those items are now lost forever, potentially. And then there's no way to recover them, so that affects the supply of the remaining items, potentially making it more unique and more valuable. But at the same time, as we get more players, it kind of makes them like really, really rare. And if I was using them for example, I've got some items at the moment, I think, the ingots and the ores and that kind of thing. I was originally planning on just having, making it so that the economy of those was that you were turning in the items so rapidly and people would just find them again, that you could continue to use them and use them to make tools and that kind of stuff. That would have been fine if we had everything moving as smoothly as it was. But right now, as you can see, like the cost of the tools in game has risen because it's difficult to get the items. As we lose those items over time, that will also make it more difficult to create those items as well. So I really liked that limited dynamics of the items, but because you were turning them in frequently, it should have been fine. And obviously now that's a major issue. So those kind of things, the dynamics of that, and the ownership have kind of been almost like a double-edged sword, because while you can own this item in your wallet, you're also completely responsible for it. And you either lose it or something, or you can just hold on to it. Like it's like the tablets event. If you were around for that, people would send the tablets to each other, and for the most part, everyone was fine. You know, they'd do it. They just send it on. About who's next in the list, who wants this. They'd then be able to claim it, and by passing it on, they'd get access to then the prizes. But you know, there was some people who would then try and sell it, or other people who just held on to it, and then it kind of just destroyed the event early. And then, you know, that wasn't up to me. I knew that would potentially happen, but I got all the heat from it, and people complaining to me. It's like, well, that's just how it works. Like, you kind of have to have trust in you guys. It kind of was just showing. It's just kind of like a social event where it kind of shows how you all interact and how you make decisions and that kind of stuff. So the dynamics of that was quite fun to do. Obviously, that'd be kind of impossible today with the fees. But anyway, like some of that stuff, like it was just sounded cool at the time, but as we've kind of gone on with things and different kinds of people have entered the space who have different goals and things like that, it's kind of changed my ideals on that sort of stuff. So I know that was kind of a bit of a random mishmash all over the place, but the one thing that I think people seem to want to do in the blockchain space, like a lot of the case, the one goal is to just make money. So having this interaction where you have to take the items out of the game to your own wallet to then go and list them on some third-party store to then get some money to then maybe buy another item and then send them back to your wallet and then send them back to the game, just seems like a lot of unnecessary steps. So I'm not sure if any of you have played any other games, like or used any other the more larger corporations have done, like Top Shots.
Sure.
But they don't have NFTs or items that they send to your wallet. You don't hold them or own them. Partly they're doing this because of regulation in their countries, but it's also because it makes it easier for everyone to kind of interact with. You know, you don't have to manage a wallet. You don't have to have the items sent to you. You can just trade the items on their platform as you like, and there's a public record of it on the blockchain. So every time they do a sale, they post how much for, who it went from, and who it went to. And so they're kind of just using the blockchain as a record of transaction, which is kind of like a step back from where we are. From where we were. You know, the whole thing with Engine was about owning all your items and having them in your wallet and sending them back and forth and that kind of thing. But it's almost like maybe that isn't the final answer either, and maybe not yet, because while some people are very versed in using blockchain and wallets and sending them back and forth, if it ever wants to reach some sort of a critical mass, it kind of needs to be a lot easier than that, and the concepts need to be a lot easier. So I think Top Shots have kind of got a good direction that they're going with there, making it really, really easy for people to be able to buy in, trade their items, and then sell. And, you know, they're obviously hugely popular, way more than Lost Relics, so they're obviously doing something right. And people don't really care that they don't have the items in their wallets anyway. So wrapping all that stuff up, going to this in-game marketplace is probably most similar a concept, but that sort of changes one of the fundamental features about owning your own items in your wallet, because you would be basically putting all your items onto the Lost Relics website, onto your own account, and trading them within there, and not necessarily taking them out or needing to, because you can still trade all the value.
I think the main difference is the fact that you have the option to pull everything out basically at the snap of a finger, which is what makes it different difference would I think Top Shot, right?
Yeah, I mean, but they're still calling it the same thing. The reason they're doing it is, I believe, due to regulation, because it's unregulated at the moment. If they as a company send you an item, they're not quite. The law doesn't say what that is, whether they have to pay whatever on it, or whether they have to, like, there's a lot of stuff with AML, with the money laundering stuff, where you have to be really careful with the fiat on ramps and off ramps and that kind of thing. And so I think they're just being super, super careful about that.
Yeah, which makes sense. In terms of the, go ahead.
Sorry, I was just going to say, in saying that though, like the way that they've done it has allowed them to open up to a lot of traditional people, I guess, like more like rather than just blockchain enthusiasts, anyone can come in and start trading cards, and they don't even necessarily need to know that they're on the blockchain.
Yeah. I think a big part of its success, though, is the fact that the NBA is backing it, like the literal NBA, which is known, by every single country across the planet, which kind of makes it easier just for people to trust it and to kind of go in without necessarily doing more research, just trusting it blindly because it is the NBA, rather than something like Lost Relics made by Cliff Carley. Who is this guy? Like it's
definitely.
In that sense.
Yeah. I mean, and I also can speak to like the general consumer that is in Top Shots, like that is not a crypto aficionado, right? Like a lot of these collectors that are coming from like the physical world, like they're not specifically looking at like the value of blockchain technology and what it brings to their collectibles, right? For them, it's they're just expanding into a new brand of collectible, sports collectible, right? And the easier you can make it for that community to come in, the more potential users, can mix with the crypto users, I guess you could say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
but it's easy for everyone.
I mean, Top Shot, you can just pay with your credit card, can't you? I'm pretty sure I bought a couple Top Shot packs. I didn't have to install any, or I didn't have to put any crypto in. You just pay with credit card and you get the NFTs. So you're right. It's a lot different, and it is a lot of like, speaking as someone who is a physical collector as well as Drift can say himself as well. It's like, it's a no-brainer. Put $10 into a pack of cards. I'll take it, right? Sorry to kind of change the topic a little bit, but I have a question. It's more of a, not more so as like a question for the community, but more for you yourself, Cliff. Is there a piece of content you're working on putting on this patch or in the future yourself that you're really excited about, like you're really proud of, something specifically, whether it be like a monster or a huge thing like Arena?
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult because there's so many moving pieces and moving parts. I'm really excited to do the Arena stuff. There's kind of a revisit of some of the old dynamics appearing back in there again, with some new, I don't know what you'd say. I guess, yeah. I mean, maybe just new dynamics as well. So there's that part of it. But I think the other goal that keeps getting pushed back is multiplayer, which is just going to be really great and really fun to run through the adventures with people. I'm probably going to have to change either have multiplayer specific adventures, because otherwise it's just going to be too easy. Like, you're doing 2-minute runs now on some of the levels, and how long is it going to take as multiplayer? And it's like, okay, everyone just go off in a different direction. All right, 10 seconds later it's done. So it's probably going to have to change from the existing setups and the way it's sort of done. Unfortunately, the whole system that generates those levels is all dynamic, so I should be able to just vary the length and complexity of some of those in order to add a little bit more to it.
On that note, oh, sorry, go ahead, continue.
I'm done.
Okay, I was gonna say on that note, so I know this doesn't this conversation might not benefit everyone in chat, but I want to ask it anyways because I'm curious. So we know the Founders Token, one of the benefits is multiplayer early access, right? If I'm not mistaken. Are you planning on, let's say we have 15,000 players at that time that are playing daily. Let's think big for a second, and you have, let's say, 320 odd people that have Founders Tokens that can have access to multiplayer. If you've thought about this, if you're comfortable sharing this, is it going to be just for people with the founders token? Or are you planning on being like, oh, if you have a founders token, you can bring one friend along with you to this beta?
Yeah, so it was going to be just if you had a founders token, because pretty much it's kind of like a test thing, but you get to have early access to it. But I know I've had people say it would be great if I could bring a friend along for being a founder and stuff too. So, I mean, none of that's set in stone. Initially, maybe it'll transform slightly, and for the first week or something, it'll just be founders token holders only. And then maybe it'll allow you to invite someone for the next couple of weeks, and then after that, it gets opened up to everyone. I don't know.
I think that'd be a better thing, because that means that if we hold founders tokens as streamers, people are going to tune in and watch us play multiplayer. And on that note, Cliff, would you play a multiplayer game with us?
Yeah, of course. That's what I'm looking forward to.
Hell yeah!
Oh my gosh, I can't
I also
handle.
have another question too. Not that multiplayer is out or whenever it does come out, but in terms of multiplayer, have you thought of like how the loot will be dispersed among, like, let's say all 4 people in an adventure? Like, what if one transcendent weapon drops? How do those?
It'll be pre-allocated.
Okay.
Yeah, it'll be pre-rolled for you. So there's no fighting or need for greed or anything like that. It'll basically be done when you go to open up something. It will not only determine the item, but it'll be, well, this item is for this person. So, if I go and open up a chest and it's a transcendent and it's got Kenzie's name on it, I can't take it. It's his.
Yes, he said my name,
and then he dies, and then it's just like, that's awesome. Yeah, that's
cool. Yeah, there's so many, like, just whole abundance of good news all at one time. It's crazy.
God, I don't know how we're gonna cut this into segments. It's literally just like a plethora of news.
I was only supposed to do this for like 10 minutes too.
Yeah.
I didn't even know about this.
Guys, we've been holding on to Clip for a while here.
Yeah, feel bad.
All right, one more, and then I got to go.
Fair enough.
If you don't mind me asking, in terms of the marketplace that you're introducing in the game, the blockchain marketplace, does that mean, because we've seen that Engine is particularly slow with their releases of JumpNet, of let alone Affinity, we don't even I don't expect too much to happen at the end of the year. It's probably going to be version 0.1, if anything. Does it mean like the in-game marketplace that you're introducing, does that mean that lending would be easier to implement through the game? Do you see that as an option, or are you just going to wait for Engine to implement it?
It's a great question. And actually that raises something else that I just wanted to mention quickly too. With the in-game marketplace, as I did say in the news update, if I do release it with this next update, it also hinges on whether Engine have delivered the ability for you to convert your engine to J engine, because I'm using J engine. I'm just trying to get rid of all the gas stuff. So I'm not going to say, oh yeah, in the meantime, while we wait for them to do something, I'm just going to take engine, and then everyone's still paying gas to send their engine across and whatnot. I've specifically made this for JumpNet. And so if I go to release the update and they haven't finished it, the in-game marketplace is going to be impacted again. By the ability for everyone. Like if you haven't got any J engine, you won't be able to spend it. You won't be able to use the marketplace. But if you have, then you'll be fine. So I'm still in discussions with them about what's happening. When is that going to be released? Everyone wants to be able to trade their items. I don't think you can trade any items at the moment for any of the other games either, unless you can get your hands on some J-Eng, right?
Not on the Engine market, not on the Engine network. No.
Yeah. You can send your items to each other if you have some, but you're not trading any value. You probably have to separately send Engine or something if you're trying to trade for value, right?
Yeah, that's what's been going on a lot behind the scenes. Yeah,
that's horrible. Yeah, that's horrible because it also impacts trust and stuff. Someone just send their item again, and the other person might not send the money. And I always advocate definitely going for marketplaces instead of peer-to-peer. I know why the peer-to-peer stuff is done at the moment, but hopefully with the Lost Relics in-game marketplace, you won't need to bother.
Can't wait for that.
Yeah, so I'm not sure. So kind of took a bit of a turn there. I just wanted to say that because I just realized that if I do release it, it's still going to be hinged slightly on the JN stuff. So yeah, it might not be as a huge jump forward as it could be until they release that.
Yeah.
Cool. So to go back to what was your question again? The second half, sorry.
The lending aspect.
Yeah, so the lending stuff. I don't want to jump in with that just yet. I think that's going to have some market impacts that people haven't really thought about yet. You can. The thing is, in Lost Relics in particular, so I've got forging coming, where you're going to be able to make virtual items. If you can lend all your items from everyone, there's no point making virtual items.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the lending market potentially has a impact as well on whether people are going to do forging or whether they're going to be, just renting their items. So I need to wait for everything to settle a little bit before that. So I want to get forging out before I do any of that stuff. But to answer your question, yes, it's definitely possible for me to do that before Engine do it.
Awesome.
Fair enough.
Exciting.
I think before Cliff goes, I think Jared had a question you wanted to ask.
Okay. It's not really a
What's up?
question. We'll make it more of an outro. But with all these exciting news, can we expect a date for it to all go down? Or it's still in the coming weeks.
Yeah, it'll just be the coming weeks because I've got a lot of balancing to do. So I've just added 30 monsters. They're not entirely finished in that the skills that they have and the damage and that kind of thing they do is still in the works. Some of them were not originally planned in the early days, so there's some kind of new dynamics and features that they have that I have to kind of clean up. The bosses and mini bosses that I announced, I'm kind of aiming towards, but I may, if this goes on a bit too long, just cut one or two of those. In terms of maybe the bosses won't come out, it'll just be mini bosses or vice versa. But yeah, it's just, the other thing that threw me in this recent section was losing Square as the payment provider. So I've kind of had to spend a bit of time trying to find another one and trying to align with something. So I've got a meeting about that tomorrow. So that takes a bit more time. Just trying to organize a few moving parts around that, which have kind of added some delays. I know you're all eager to get a date, but I would still say for the moment, probably the next couple of weeks. So I'm aiming to finalize a few things. I've now done the blockchain marketplace. I literally finished that last night. That's all, I think apart from like one minor feature, that's all done. Like you can do all that in the game now. It just also hinges on the JEng. So yeah, so like there's a lot of moving parts and I keep jumping between monsters and that and other things and payment services and all that kind of thing.
For sure.
But I'm definitely making, the progress towards it. So I'm hoping within the next couple of weeks to do the update. I'm not holding off just to spite everyone or to say, haha, I have the latest game and you don't or anything like that. Like I'm just, yeah. The more time I have with it, the more is getting added. So I just need to make sure everything's working together because otherwise the next thing will be is if I am pressured into releasing something too soon and then it all just flops and dies, then I'm just constantly getting hassled about, well, it's now broken and we can't play.
Yep.
So I just want to make sure that it is working well for everyone.
We had
I
that
think
happen and it was not good.
yeah. The Easter stuff was not fun.
I think on behalf of us here at NFT Gaming and everyone in the stream, we just want to say thank you so much for coming on and thank you for taking the time out of your
100%.
morning to answer some questions from us and the community. It was really awesome.
Can we get some hearts in the chat for Cliff, please?
Seriously, hearts for Cliff.
Honestly, like we really appreciate. We know how busy and stressed you must be with all of the stuff you're doing with the update and obviously your payment provider. So we really appreciate you coming and taking the time as always to address the community.
The man didn't even have breakfast, damn it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, everyone.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank
Thanks,
you so
Cliff.
much.
Thank you so
Cliff.
much, man.
Seriously.
Thanks everyone. And yeah, thanks for all the support and positiveness and looking after each other as well. I know there's been some occasional toxicity and that kind of thing around, but I think most of it seems to be going quite well now. And definitely looking forward to delighting you all with this next update.
Yeah.
We can't wait.
Anything
No.
you ever
We
need,
can't
man.
wait.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Catch you later.
Take care.
Bye bye.
Yeah.
All right.
Wow.
What
That was
the...
a great special guest that we just didn't want to let him go.
I feel like I just
It's
blacked
like,
out for 2
no.
hours and I woke up and we've been live for almost 3 hours. Holy shit. I knew Kenzie was hiding something. I said it before the podcast. I said during. Kenzie, thank you for
Yeah, you
holding
had a
that
funny
surprise.
look.
Holy shit. Like, we didn't know about that. That was Kenzie. Like, so I don't know. You can say thanks to Kenzie for having Cliff on. I'm sorry. I know we didn't get a chance to answer every question that was asked in chat, and there was a bunch of them. And there's a lot of important questions we didn't have a chance to ask. But of course, we don't want to interrupt Cliff. We want to hear him talk, even though I did that a couple times. But I think it's as good a time as ever to give away some more dog tags for those of you guys that were nice enough to help us contribute.
Yeah. Why not?
Anyone have any ideas for some giveaways? For some free NFTs?
I'm feeling like I don't know how we can do it, but like a rock paper scissors game, like between us on screen, could be funny. But I just don't know how we pick the winners.
Too many people would be on someone's side. There'd be too many winners. It's like, I want rock.
Yeah, that sounds like a terrible idea, if I'm being honest.
I think Nightbot is the best moving forward once we get that set
Yeah.
up. But for now, we can keep that same sort of question thing, maybe, where like the first one to answer correctly is the winner, just because we did that for the first two. If you want.
Oh, you know a good one? Let me put it in the chat.
Yeah, if you have any other ideas, it's here.
Looking for founders? Are you looking for a founders token to buy or to leech off of now?
That's a good one. I like
Nice
that one
try.
a lot, Kenzie.
Let me see.
Yeah. Do you know the answer?
No, but I can find it.
Oh, I have no idea either. That's perfect.
I'm trying to zoom in and it's very blurry.
No, yeah, wait. Give me a sec. Let me find it.
Let me
Just
step out
ask it
real
once
quick,
you have
guys.
the answer.
Yeah, no worries, Strike.
be right
Go
back.
head to the bathroom.
Yeah.
It's been a long stream.
All
Man,
right.
You guys are the Herman Millers.
Slow mode for the giveaway. Perfect, Feds.
Thank you. That was awesome. I feel like I legitimately blacked out and I woke up and
Dude, that was great.
dude, your face, all of her faces except Kenzie's.
Dude, as soon as he came in, I'm like,
My face is so red from smiling. Like, honestly, holy crap. I'm
right?
awesome. All
Yeah,
right.
that was good. He was supposed, like you said, he was supposed to come. Like I asked him 5, 10, 15 minutes. He stayed for a goddamn hour.
It was more than an hour, I think.
Yeah. No, it was like
About
almost
an hour. Hour,
Okay.
actually. All right, we gotta wait for Striker to come back, and then we can ask the question.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a question I think a lot of people have been asking that I want to get to him eventually, but I feel like it didn't fit in the conversation about the gates of hell. I want to talk about it with you, Kenzie. What do you think? Because I feel like I know you're not talking on behalf of Cliff, but you might know his mindset more so because obviously you've been around for longer. What do you think about the gates of hell for people who like need to go AFK? Like someone goes into a dungeon and they have an emergency at home and they die because of it. Like I know we've had people in the Discord talk about it.
I saw. I know who you're talking about specifically. Oh yeah, there you go. Troubles. From my perspective, I don't necessarily agree with people in that situation, and maybe that is because I am not in that situation. But from my point of view, you have the teleport scroll, which is 1,000 gold item, which is not expensive. It's not like 10k or 100k. It's 1,000. It's 1k. It is very affordable. Anybody can buy that, and it takes a second to click on it. I don't agree on the fact that it takes a long time. I think it's very quick to use and to get out and to save yourself.
But what if you get a drop?
Then I mean, it's either the drop or the emergency. Like who cares about the drop if you have an emergency? Like if somebody's dying in your house, you should go and save that person and fuck the drop. From my perspective,
Yeah.
that's how I see it.
I feel like I have to disagree. I feel like I That can't be the answer. There must be something, right?
What?
I want to ask Striker. Strike.
Talk to me.
Talking about Gates of Hell, and Mitch was asking during this, and I didn't get a chance to look at his DM. But what do we do in a situation? What can be done in a situation where there's the Gates of Hell, and you have to go for a legitimate emergency in the middle, and you might think it's going to take 30 seconds, and you end up being gone for 15 minutes because there's something you really have to deal with. Do you think there should be something that should? Do you think there is something that should be done in that case? Like there should be some way that you don't just come back dead, or do you think it's a necessary AFK timer thing?
I mean, with the current way that the system is structured, I think it needs to exist. I mean, obviously, the easiest solution is just don't take a risk and teleport out. But I understand how teleport scrolls. I mean, maybe it can make it easier to where the value of teleport scrolls can lower to make it less of a cost, I guess, for new players. But it's a hard question to ask. I don't know. I can see how taking it, like improving it or reducing it, can dramatically change things, right?
So let's say the teleport scroll is a great option. I think people can agree that it is a great option. But there's two things. One, sometimes you don't know how long you're going to go AFK for, which is the issue. You don't know if it's a real emergency. You might leave your computer and you find out there's something you really need to be gone for. And two, what if you get a transcend in a dungeon and you literally have to go, or any drop in a dungeon? Like teleporting out, you lose the drop, right? Is that just a risk you have? Is that just like a sacrifice you have to take?
Sorry, I just want to point out, Hood just said something good. Shut the game and you'll be able to redo the adventure when you come back.
That's
true.
What I do.
That's
true.
Oh, there you go, Tromos. That's your solution.
That's true.
It's not exactly like a very clean
It's
cut
not an
solution,
end all
to be
be
honest.
all of this solution, but
But
it's
that's
a
what I do.
temporary solution until maybe he addresses this if he sees it as an issue.
Because from my perspective, it is like, you know, I play Overwatch a lot, right? And there's a lot of people playing competitive games online with other players. Be it, you know, CSGO, League of Legends, Overwatch, any type of online game where you play with other people, even like you're in a raid in World of Warcraft, you can't go AFK, right? I think us here, except for maybe Strike, I don't know, like we grew up in an environment where our moms are telling us like, pause the game, dinner is ready, and you're like, Mom, I can't pause the game, right? Like,
I remember that. Yeah, I'm
Right,
not that
yeah.
old, bro. Relax. I'm just kidding.
To be fair, though, a lot of the games we're talking about, you can go AFK. Like I played old school RuneScape for a long time, and if you're doing a raid, if you're doing a raid, you just like wait in the room you're in. Like you can't go AFK during the final boss, you're gonna die. But like in between rooms, you can. I'm not necessarily advocating for a change, by the way. I'm just trying to play devil's advocate because I think it might be a legitimate issue.
I was gonna say Striker's mom is telling him to pause the game.
No, that was my sister.
Yeah,
It's
I think
funny.
DeFi Rob brings up a good point. I think it's a big difference in a competitive esports game versus RPG that we're just kind of like grinding and I don't know, kind of hanging out and playing, you know, like on Discord, hanging out with your friends and stuff. It's just like, I guess the solution, I mean, if you shut off the game and you go back in, you start at the beginning of the dungeon, and if you used relics, the relics are depleted, right? That's how it works.
I'm not sure. I've never went through it.
No, when you like when the game gets shut down, like if you lose power, you mean?
No, like yeah, if your game shuts off.
Yeah,
and
you
you're-
lose health. You lose like 10.
What
You
about your-
start the
your-
dungeon brand new with like 10% less health, and
But your
or something
relics
like
stay the
that.
same. If you use all your harvester stacks, you have your harvester back.
I believe so. Yeah, it should. Everything
Gotcha.
else should be back to normal.
I think-
You get a fresh dungeon run. You just get it with less starting health or maybe less starting energy. Also,
Thank
I'm not
you,
sure.
everyone in chat. I appreciate being corrected. Thank you very, very much, and I mean that genuinely. I think until then, I mean, like until if he realizes it's a problem, until he figures out a solution, your best bet might be if you think you have to step away from your computer for an extended period of time, you might just have to shut off the game.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's the best. I'm not saying that is the proper course of action. Yeah, go ahead, Kenzie.
No, I was gonna say, and even with that solution, be careful with it because it is. I think it would be frowned upon if you do it too often, right? Like,
Yeah,
clip
I
pays attention,
rarely.
and if
Oh,
you
okay.
do this 7 times a day or even more, or like a certain amount, then it's going to be considered as abuse because your computer shouldn't shut down. You shouldn't be having a bug so many times in a day, right? It looks like you're trying something that you shouldn't be trying.
So I really
also for the record, like if that ever happens, like I've had times also where like power goes out or we have a storm come through or whatever, like I don't take a risk. I don't do the second run. Like if I lost power or if my game shut down or whatever, if I blue screen like back in the day, then I just automatically TP out. It's not worth the risk.
Oh yeah.
I think of losing virtual items, but maybe I'm wrong.
For sure, I agree with you. I think I'm more worried, and the people that are bringing up this problem are more worried about IRL issues, because that seems like it's to be the problem. I think three people in my chat today died because of something similar. It was like really bad timing today. I think Denoth's kid hurt himself and he had to go help him. He was crying and he came back dead. Applebee's had something as well, and then someone else was talking about it. But I don't know. I feel bad I didn't bring this up when Cliff was here, because this could have been something he had an easy answer for.
Definitely, I didn't see the message. But like, yeah, somebody earlier said, what I was saying was competitive video games. This is an RPG, it's more casual. I never played WoW to that level, World of Warcraft to that level. But if you're in a raid with 40 people or however many people do it, can you go AFK, or do people need you to be there and you cannot go AFK?
There are parts where you can go AFK if people are okay with it. Yeah.
Right, but a general consensus is you get in the raid and you finish the raid, right?
Yeah, but I think the difference is the ability to be able to go AFK. I think that's the distinction. Like you can if people are okay with it. Whereas with this...
And what happens when you go AFK? The other people continue the raid, right? And you are the one staying there. And when you come back, what happens? Because I would say in that case, you can go AFK. You just use the teleport scroll. And what you miss out on, you miss out on. Same thing with the raid. If you go AFK, I don't think 39 people are going to be waiting for you. They're going to continue the raid if they can manage without you. And then you miss out on that raid.
Yeah,
right?
But I think we're also like... I think a couple of people in chat have said, like, even if that's the case, like, I think we're comparing like big multiplayer game to like current single player game. So I think there are differences there.
Okay.
I think we're gonna end up going in circles here. I think it's just something that Cliff might have to address at some point, and that's on me because I didn't see that message, because I was the one who got sent the DM. So I apologize, Mitch, and anyone else who might have messaged me getting me to ask that, because it would have been a good question, and I'm sure it would have been probably a very easy answer. Because I know he sees the suggestions, like he looks at the Discord, and I've seen people message that, so I'm sure he's thought about it. Maybe at some point in the future, during another podcast, if we get an answer from him, we could address that.
Maybe we can definitely bring it up at a future point in time. I think the key, just like Cliff coming in, dropping some bombs. I mean, we heard about that he has a functioning in-game marketplace.
Mm-hmm.
We heard about the combat changes that he's excited to bring in. He mentioned the idea of the new maps, and foraging sounds like it could also come with this next patch, which we had a question on at the very beginning. So yeah, overall great. It was good. I enjoyed it a lot.
Is there anything anyone wants to add before we wrap this up?
All right, we're not gonna wrap up. First of all, we're gonna ask a question.
Oh yeah, we have giveaways, guys. Giveaways.
I have one question, and you better have the response. I'm gonna put on slow mode real quick before we get slammed again.
Trigger fingers ready for Kenzie's question.
The question is, what is the name of the new map that is coming in Lost Relics? The new beach map. First person who gives the name. What the fuck?
Wow.
Locked. You're insane.
All right, add that to the list. Make sure to DM Kenzie or I your wallet address, please, or Strike or Jer on Discord, please. Let's do another one. That was so quick.
That was so. How did he do it that fast?
He was ready for it.
Zero delay.
Zero delay. He just knows it. Like he has probably printed it on his wall or something.
Also, Kenzie, check the group chat for a second. Yeah, I knew you would ask it. Nice. That was good, man. That was really, really, really good.
Yeah, he would go Kambungas.
I should have a fun one that people that don't know us are going to be mad about, but I don't care. What is Striker's first name?
Oh God.
For people that have been watching Striker.
Are you
for
gonna
a
get
long time.
the nickname or the full
Either?
name?
I think either's fine.
I mean the other's fine.
All right, that was quick. That was Gauzy got it very, very quick.
Yeah, Gauzy.
Well, hold on, Ghazi. I love you to death, brother. I love you to death.
Striker's #1 fan right there.
But
It
where's
was
the but?
misspelled, however.
Oh,
It was misspelled.
are we giving him points for it though?
Nah, I think his heart was there though.
Yeah, give it to him. Give it to him.
All right, Gauzy, same thing. Just make sure to DM us.
Yes.
Damn,
and
Rob was so close. I would have said Cisco as well, just because. Yeah, that's
you-
that's what I
Because
call.
that's what I have in Discord.
Yeah. So that's 4. We should probably do one more.
Barry, do I look like a
one
Barry?
more?
Barry Allen.
Barry Allen.
Not Barry
I
White.
am the fastest man alive. Sorry. Okay, Jared, go ahead. You give something. We've been pitching.
All right, put me on the spot here.
Yeah, it's
I
a
gotta
lot of
think
fun.
of a good question.
Oh man, I
I'm
got
gonna-
one now.
You have a good one?
No, but go ahead. You first.
Okay. What is? Hold on a second here. Yeah, Strike. You give it to them. I'm like scanning the website here, trying to think of a good
It's
one.
gonna take a little bit of time. I think. I mean, I doubt anyone's gonna get this immediately. Okay. The answer is it's gonna be a math question. Okay. I want you to give me the correct answer. Okay.
Oof. The finance guy is coming.
No, the
go.
correct answer. Here we go. Okay. I want you to take the level, your character level that you need to be able to farm the Winter Willow in game, and subtract it by the level you need to reach in the Champions rewards to unlock the 4th relic slot. What's that answer? Winter Willow level minus 4th relic slot in the Champions reward. What's the answer?
So Winter Willow level minus the 4th relic level slot level.
They got it.
Who?
They got it.
Which
All
one
right. So
was it?
Winter Willow is you can farm Winter Willow at level 24, and your 4th relic slot is awarded at level 18, which means 24 minus 18. The answer is 6.
6. So that is
The
Scott.
winner goes to Scotty.
Yes.
Scotty, level
Scotty,
6.
nice to see a real OG who's been in pretty much all of our stream. I mean, Jer and I, probably one of our first viewers. That's
Damn.
awesome.
100p.
And we're going to announce this now because our production team really wants us to announce this now. We're also going to announce the Our Planet giveaway winner for the Diamond
Ooh.
Element. We're going to be announcing
There
the
we
Discord
go.
as well because I'm sure a lot of the people aren't in the Discord.
Make sure you join, by the way. Discord right there.
I'm going to butcher the hell out of this name, and I apologize. And you're probably not even in here. But the winner of the Our Planet, the NFT Gaming giveaway sponsored by Our Planet for the Diamond Element is... it feels so disingenuous without Yusuf's drum roll on his Go XLR.
Right?
Tonke Sengiz. I cannot pronounce that, and I butchered the hell out of that. But
Maybe type it in the chat.
I'm gonna
Type it in
it.
chat. Type it in
Clarify.
chat.
Yeah.
It's right there. I put it there.
thank you very much. I apologize for butchering your name if you're here. You're probably not because we had thousands of entrants.
Congratulations on the win.
But
Congrats.
congratulations.
Congrats.
We will be posting it in Discord. We're going to be contacting that person via the contact information they provided us, just to make sure that it is legitimate and we're not getting message from other people. But thank you everyone for participating in all of the giveaways and for watching the stream today. We have another stream on Sunday, and I feel like this is a very, very good time to announce it. Good time as ever. We will be having episode 5 of our NFT Gaming Podcast on Sunday, and we will be having Dan from Immersis.io and Ellie Blob as our guest. Ellerblob is a really, really cool project on Wax. So we're going to be having him on and asking him a bunch of questions about his project and just talking about the Wax network in general. And we're really, really excited. So make sure you tune in Sunday at, I believe it's going to be at 11 a.m. Eastern time, which is about, I think that's 3 p.m. UTC. We'll be posting an announcement tonight. So be sure to see that. We will be doing another giveaway then. And depending on how we're feeling that day, maybe we'll give some more NFT Gaming MVB client tags away as well.
And before we
love
head
it.
off, I do want to remind people to, if you haven't yet, please join the Discord and check out the Role Picker channel. We now have a reaction you can pick to be notified for future podcasts. So right now there's 4 people who clicked it. So make sure that if you don't want to miss future podcasts when we have surprise guests like Cliff, make sure that you tap the microphone on the Role Picker channel on Discord.
Yeah, and in general, if you like our streams, right now me, Kenzie, and Drift also have an emote. If you want to get updates on when we go live as well, make sure to click our little emotes as well, because we'll be posting info on when we're streaming there as well, and giveaways regarding our streams. Guys, we really appreciate all the support today. Thank you so much for stopping by and taking part in that little Q&A with Cliff. But I think that's it for us for today.
But don't go anywhere, as we are about to raid an amazing person. You want to say something, Aaron?
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say, I'm taking credit for this one. I didn't know the other person you were rating, so I figured we'd raid a Lost Relic streamer just because, keep it in the community.
Exactly.
Drop some emotes too, guys. Go crazy in their chat. Make sure we put a smile on their face if they're using face cam.
Go crazy, baby.
Drop those emotes. Peace, guys. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you soon.
Take care, everyone.
Cut the video.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that was great.
All right.
Wait, this guy is gonna go wild.
He's your friend, right?
Oh shoot.
Oh, it's followers